Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to Weeb Seen It Podcast, episode number 22. My name's Cam.
And I'm Jimmy.
And welcome back to another week. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching always. We had a nice, successful video last week when we put it out. It isn't our highest viewed, but we gained, I think, like 35 or 36 subs off it, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy growth considering how long it took us to get to 100.
It took us, I think, 4 months to get to 100 subs, and now it's been 2 videos, and we're just about at 200. So which means we double it in only 2 weeks, which is fantastic. Obviously, we mentioned before, our next goal is the 1,000, the big one. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, think about subscribing, liking, and of course comment. Comments are the big one. You can comment right now, anything you want, or you can wait till a specific part in the video to comment something with the episode you watched. As always, all the time stamps are going to be down below or inside the buffering bar, so you can skip right to that part if you want. And yeah, I always ask people just to comment what they're actually watching, because that way we know what people are following the most. And we know what show we can definitely never drop. And, if even if you're watching shows that aren't on our list, you should put them down anyways, because that way we can know, if we ever have a bonus week or a week we can throw in an extra episode that we watch, we could do it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, this week, what it promised Neverland.
Yeah, they did a straight recap episode for some reason.
Yeah, we've discussed this before on the podcast, the recap thing. Sometimes recap episodes are important. When you're going through a 50 episode anime, episode 25, you do a recap episode.
Yeah.
You even went through, months and months of this anime so far. But most people who started Promised Neverland season 2 probably haven't seen season 1 that long ago. A lot of people probably rewatched since it's such a short show. Yeah. Even if you haven't, I feel like you would remember all those details. It's such a short, impactful season, like season 1.
I mean, yeah, and a lot of the recap was covering stuff that happened in the recent season.
Yeah, and this is episode 6, so they did 5 episodes and then a recap, and then we're gonna get another 5 episodes probably. So it just seems kind of silly.
I feel like they're gonna go for like the normal 13 run. Yeah, but this just means we're gonna only end up with 12 episodes of actual content.
The real downside about this is it's at a time right now where a lot of people are already iffy on the new season of Promised Neverland because of the changes from the manga and stuff like that. And now I don't think people loved getting a recap episode instead of an episode after a big reveal. But
I almost feel like they're trying to stall for time while they figure out what they do.
Maybe they're like, okay, well, let's backtrack. Actually, let's go back and not do a time skip. But yeah, I don't know. Once again, they're doing that. So this week, instead of just adding a random anime or skipping that one, we're actually just going to talk about both quintessential quintuplets and Horimiya.
Yep.
So it's something that we normally have in rotation, but since we have the bonus slot, we'll talk about both of them today.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe in the future we'll have 2 recap episodes and we'll have a bonus show on the series. So.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, if there's a show, even if we don't talk about it weekly, that you like, let us know down below. Yeah. It's probably something that we're watching anyways. Maybe we talk about it in an episode. I think other than that, we're ready to get into it.
I think we are.
Okay, so like always, before we get into it, non-sponsored energy drinks. Okay, so first up today, we have ReZero episode number 44.
Permafrost of the Elior Forest.
Okay, so this episode was what I was expecting from last week's episode. You get a conclusion to Amelia's first trial, a conclusion to her past there. As well as in this episode, you learn that there are, in fact, 3 trials, so we still have 2 more.
Yeah.
I can only assume, if I had to guess, this one's dealing with your past, regrets. The other one's got to be dealing with something with the present and then dealing with the future. That would be the big guess, right?
Yeah, that'd be the obvious answer. So,
but yeah, we've never seen anyone do a trial number 2, so that means for the upcoming episodes, we have something that we have no idea about. Is she going to go out first? Are we going to get more Subaru time or outside story before she attempts trial number 2, or is she going to go right into trial 2?
I mean, I feel like she's on a roll. She might just push straight through.
I don't know. Maybe. I guess that it depends on how the trials seem really stressful. So I feel like just crushing out.
Yeah, she did kind of have the breakdown at the end there. So
yeah, I don't know. Either way, that's something that we don't know where it's going. So it's nice uncharted territory. We've never seen a second or third trial, so that's exciting. But I guess first we got to discuss exactly what happened in said trial.
Yeah, we got to finally see the conclusion of everything with Pandora and what happened with Fortuna.
Now, unfortunately, we didn't get to see the whole question about, what is the seal? What is it sealed? We obviously learned that Amelia has like the key. She's the only one who can like make it or has it, and just no one else can see it. That was pretty much expected. We kind of expected her to be the key, which I think this is the same thing.
Yeah.
In the same sense, anyways.
Yeah, it's just more her manifesting a key as opposed to her just saying open.
Yeah, it seems like something that you can't force it to. You can't just grab Amelia and put her in the keyhole and twist it. It seems like she has to actively give this up. And then obviously in this episode, Pandora's trying to force her to give the key to open it up, being like, hey, listen, you open up this seal, I'll just take off. All of us will take off. You'll be super cool.
Yeah.
Now, I actually did kind of believe that it would happen like that, but
the The problem is what is sealed.
Yeah, I do believe that Pandora would have actually like just like pieced, like she would have got whatever thing, and then she would have like absolutely left. Like they wouldn't have had to kill all the characters and stuff like that. But yeah, at the same point, it's like what is sealed? We don't know.
Yeah, like
we've had a few guesses, but
even if she leaves, if it kills everyone who's there, it's kind of a null point. So
yeah. Plus, the forest still has the Snick-a-Snack, and we're not 100% sure if the Snick-a-Snack is there from those people showing up, or if it because they talk about it in this episode at one point, and it almost like it inhabits this forest.
Yeah, I think it was like I think they almost used the word infested, so it just kind of showed up.
Yeah, so that might not even be necessarily related to Pandora and the other guy showing up, so that could be there no matter what.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're actively protecting the seal, it could be that the snake is there as kind of a buffer.
Could be.
Because, I mean, I don't think anyone really wants to screw with that thing.
Yeah, we just like... So our question about what was sealed still is unknown, so that's something we're going to have to wait to the future. But in general, you get to see... Obviously, we knew Amelia was going to be some sort of key towards it. I think at one point, Pandora does say, once again, she referenced her as like the witch's daughter.
She did, yeah.
Which makes me question that you could be like, oh, Fortuna's kind of a witch there. She uses magic. Maybe she meant her. But it still seems like there's this connection that we haven't quite gotten yet.
Yeah, I think she's more of a direct descendant of, I want to say Satella?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Direct descendant is in daughter?
Yeah, I know. So she has the bloodline. I don't know if it's going to be one of those, like, she's actually her daughter, or if this is, like, passed down type.
There's far too much, like, secretness behind the mother-father thing. You obviously see... I do believe, in fact, that Fortuna is her aunt. She obviously mentions her brother a few times, even when Amelia's not there, so that's kind of very real. But the mother situation, I feel like she's a little bit, more secretive about.
Yeah, definitely. And there's something there because Fortuna, even as she was dying, was more upset that her mother was going to be upset rather than her brother.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I don't know. Strange. But yeah, obviously we get the ending to that. So Fortuna shows up, fights Pandora, and then Juice shows up. And he's like, oh, I'll take her out right here with this attack. And then Pandora does her weird Pandora things, swaps their places, or just, Genjutsu visually mind fucks him into thinking that...
yeah, because his eyes were blood red when he rolled up, so she was definitely screwing with his mind.
Yeah, so he just, he accidentally kills Fortuna. Very sad, just completely obliterates her right in the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, he goes a little bit insane, as we knew something was coming to make him go insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew it was going to be something to do with Fortuna. I didn't think he would actually end up killing her himself.
Yeah, I feel like someone just else dying... Like, I know that they've shown that they always have feelings towards each other, but even just, like, someone else dying in front, I don't think would have been enough to make him go that crazy. I think the process had to basically be he ended up killing her. That's the only thing that could make him go to the crazy that we saw.
True.
Because everybody, like, someone dying that you love in front of you in, like, anime, it happens all the fucking time. Yeah, characters obviously go crazy. Like, you see Amelia in this go a little crazy. Just, constantly saying die and just icicling the Pandora to shit. But there's, like, something extra to make you go, like, juice level of crazy.
True. And we did actually get the laugh at the end of this one too.
We did, yeah. They keep his like face really hidden after he kind of goes crazy, making me think that he did get his weird crazy face. Because he's more like quiet after. But yeah, as like Pandora like lifts him up and they walk away, you hear like the laugh and stuff. So that's his story. We don't know what. Do we still have any idea the actual time frame here? Like how long ago this was?
They've mentioned how long the forest has been frozen. I think it's like 200 years or something like that. Okay. So.
Yeah, then there is the thought. I mean, a lot of it's Echidna is talking to Amelia, and she's like, yeah, even like, there's no proof that you'll even be able to thaw them out. And even if you do thaw them out, the black snake could have already like infected them and they might just, be destroyed, that kind of stuff. Amelia's like, I don't really give a shit. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, she's definitely got that Subaru, I don't care, I'm going to make this work mentality going.
Yeah, which is good. And I think Echidna definitely sees that and she's like, But
yeah, I mean, she doesn't have the like return by death powers, so it's kind of a little different for Amelia. But
I mean, as long as she dies, then Subaru just has to kill himself, and then she also returns by death.
I mean, yeah, we know Subaru would do that. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still really curious about what the next trial is going to be. But this trial at the end, a lot of it was focused around at the very end. She talks to Echidna, and it's just another. I like their chemistry together. Because we don't understand why Echidna hates her so much.
Yeah, I feel like it has something to do with Subaru, but...
It either has something to do with Subaru or it has something to do with the question about her parentage and the other witch and stuff like that. It's one of the... I don't think she just hated her that much because of Subaru.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I honestly got the feeling that she almost identifies her as the reason Subaru rejected her.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but
I mean, yeah, there's definitely the potential for the witch to play into that, but I don't know.
yeah, we haven't really seen the. We got a very brief interaction between the main witch and all the other witches in Subaru in like the little tea party thing. But I feel like there's got to be something else going on there. You know, like why is she so much more feared than every other witch and that kind of stuff. So
That is true, and that's something I think we'll probably get some answers to in the next few episodes.
well, if we end up doing these second and third trials, yeah, I don't know. My guess would be obviously this one is Echidna actually says it in this. She says it's dealing with like the resentment from your past, like specifically. She said she even said you don't have to like. She said that you don't have to just like forgive or like forget it. She's like, or you can like feel it even stronger. You can go into it. She's like, it doesn't matter as long as you do it. Like she made a point of that. I don't remember exactly what like the phrasing was.
I think it's you can't reject it.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to, you know, like you don't even necessarily have to work it out. Like if we were guessing from the trial, it's like, oh, you have to deal with the resentment of your past. You have to like let it go and like, you know, like solve this issue. But it's like you don't really have to solve it. You can't like resent it. You have to go in and deal with it somehow. Whether or not if Amelia went in there completely denied it and was just like, no, like this is like apparently it still would have somehow worked. Like I don't know. It's like it seems a little iffy, but
I mean, I think she would have had to accept it that this happened. It's just what you do with that. That doesn't matter.
Still, though, her first trial was excessively different than Subaru's in like its own sense, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's just a difference in their pasts.
I guess because you think that Subaru could have they could have done the same trial with Subaru, where he has to go back and watch himself dealing with his parents and stuff like that, and then at the end of watching, he has to accept it. But for some reason, his instead was he's put back in his own shoes and gets to actively do it. And
yeah, I mean, with Subaru was more, I think, because there was always that thought of like if he could go back and just pick up where he left off. Well, with Amelia, it was something that was set in stone, and she had to kind of accept that she fucked up and did this.
Yeah, I got Subaru's also strange in the sense where like Echidna didn't really have any questions about the fact that you know it's another world.
I feel like Echidna's kind of had an eye on him this whole time.
I guess because you would think originally she would have been like, oh, look at this weird school and outfit. Like, where the fuck are you from, dude? Like, I guess the witches have some knowledge maybe of this other world and stuff like that. But yeah, I never really thought about that till I was just watching Amelia's. Because they're very different. Obviously, it's still the same thing. They're dealing with the resentment. It's just the way in which they do it was very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, do you think the next thing's going to be like accepting like something with your present? Like, what the hell? What's it going to be with the present?
If it is something with the present, it's going to be dealing with Subaru and the Royal Selection.
Maybe, and then the future would be the cool one because you'd see like some sort of like fucked up apocalyptic one where everything went wrong and she has to.
It would just be the Puck ending again, where everything's just frozen.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, she'd like go up and find like Subaru, like you know, with his head off on like the the entranceway to the place. Yeah, I'm really excited for that because once again, we've never seen a trial 2, a trial 3.
Yeah, I mean, Echidna did specifically say that Amelia's probably not going to have any problems with her.
Yeah, I thought when she said that originally, I was like, are we just going to like skip past these trials? When she's like, oh, you won't have any difficulty with it. I thought maybe that was going to be like their excuse for why like the next episode's going to come up like, I passed all the trials. And they're going to be like, oh, what were like the other ones? She's like, they were easy though. Don't worry. Yeah. Because I was like, think about how little time they have at this point. Subaru's on like this like 5-day max time limit to try and save both outcomes. We know he cannot fail and go back here. There's been way too much shit. We're not going to go back and rewatch Amelia deal with her past at some point. Like, this one's too set in stone. How is he still going to... She has to do 2 more tasks in the next, like, 2 days, and then he still has to then solve the issue about going back with all the people from the sanctuary and then dealing with it. Like, I feel like he either thinks that... obviously, at the big part of the end of this episode is he takes Garfield and Otto and goes to Roswell. And basically just like is like, hey, do you want to give up now? Do you want to surrender? Which I guess makes sense because I was about to say the only 2 options for Subaru is he either thinks that by freeing the sanctuary he can pull all these people out, like he'll have Ram, Garfield, Amelia, all these people to go with him to help with the sanctuary or to help with the mansion issue. Or the other option is he just makes Roswell call it up and that's probably the one he's thinking right now. He's like, okay, wait, maybe I can mind trick Roswell into thinking that I've already won. So he can just fucking cancel this whole thing and it's easy.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing about that conversation, too, is he introduced Otto and he was like, hey, here's something you don't know about. And it's like, is Otto really that important?
I think it's... the thing is, it didn't even have to be Otto, I don't think, but it's just bringing in such an unknown factor to become one of the main crew.
Yeah, true.
It's something that if you even look at it like our viewers, like we wouldn't have guessed when we were watching season 1 that Otto would have been like a main character.
No.
So we're almost like the Roswell in this situation. And then he's just like, hey, look, we took this guy that didn't matter. And now he's important. And look, he's not even in your fucking story.
Yeah.
So, we're like the Ross. We're like, yeah, I am going to remember your name. And then Roswell's like, that's not how or Otto's like, that's not how I want it to happen. Because back in season 1, he wanted to go with Subaru just to meet Roswell to get some trades and stuff established.
Yeah, he's a major noble. It's like, oh, okay, I guess this works. But
yeah, but now when he was acknowledging him there, it's like, that's not a good kind of acknowledgement, though. Not when, Roswell's currently trying to, or you're actively ruining his plan.
I mean, if you succeed, he's probably going to do it just out of he's probably going to trade with you out of respect. But
it's true. So yeah, obviously, if they can force Roswell to surrender or make him accept that now they've changed enough, that's the easiest outcome. Or as I said, the other outcome is that they get the trials done, they free the sanctuary, and then he uses the extra little strong army he has to go and use it to try and stop the mansion.
Yeah, which I mean, I think. Excuse me. I think just raw combat power might be the solution.
That would be the outcome that would obviously be more entertaining as viewers to then. Now Subaru shows up and there's still the 2 girls and they're like, we're going to kill all these people. And he's like, oh, are you though? And then he's like, assemble. And then like Garfield flies in through a portal and then like Ram triple back. Yeah, that's just what I'm picturing. Like it's fucking all the little Shimu, all the little girls come out, That's what I'm picturing in my mind.
I mean,
that would be like the more cinematic outcome. But instead of just Roswell being like, yeah, you're right. Okay. Calls them up. Yeah, cancel the mansion plan. You guys go somewhere else. Go kill someone else. And they're like, okay, yeah.
Because we don't even know if Roswell is actively doing this or if he just laid the breadcrumbs for them to go fuck shit up.
Yeah, there's like 2 situations for that. One, Roswell called and was like, yo, it's Roswell. I need an assassination. They're like, okay, yeah, we're on it, boss. Or 2, he's just like, hey, witches cult. I know where these people are going to be. You might not like them. And they're like, okay, well, thanks for the tip, dude. Thanks for the anonymous tip.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on what side of that is. And one thing we didn't mention on the time constraint thing that kind of plays into this is this episode actually had an opening.
Did it?
It did.
Oh, fuck. I didn't even notice. It didn't have an ending, though.
It didn't have an ending. It did have an opening, though. In the opening, you actually see a scene of Garfield fighting in the mansion.
Okay.
So I think we're going to go with the combat route.
Well, let's hope so, because that seemed... I know that like last episode I was complaining that I didn't want combat, I wanted story, but now for this situation, for the outcome of this, it's a combat kind of thing. It's like the combat with the white whale from season 1.
Yeah.
You needed that. Sure. If there was an outcome where Subaru called someone on the phone and was like, hey, man, surrender, and then the white whale's like, okay, yeah, man, you got me, I'm out. That would not have been the same season, right? We needed that. So I definitely need combat in this situation.
Yeah, because, I mean, at this point, it's really more using the power you've gained through all these moves and plays you've made. So.
Yeah. And by Subaru's power, once again, is he's just the Captain America of the team. He doesn't have the most power. He just summons it. So he's going to bring in Ram, Garfield, maybe Roswell. Maybe it actually is that Roswell doesn't really have control of them, but they come in with Roswell anyways. He's pretty fucking strong.
I mean, is he? Have we actually... I guess he beat the crap out of Subaru.
And all the demons in the forest when he came back from season 1.
True.
The pretty powerful wizard guy.
I forgot about that part, actually.
Yeah, we haven't seen him directly, combat anybody, but we saw him literally... hand through Ram and so he's a strong dude, we assume. But yeah, that's pretty much all we can say for this episode. Obviously we're excited for the next week, so I really like this episode. I've mentioned it before, Amelia is my best girl from the show, so more about Amelia is a good thing. She's
definitely grown a lot in the last handful of episodes, so I think she is growing into that role.
As I've mentioned before, people that watch season 1 and were complaining, you could watch season 1 and be like, I think Rem is best girl. But to watch season 1 and actively tell me that Rem is better than Amelia is not fair, because Rem had so much in season 1 and Amelia had nothing. Of course she's better. That's like saying that Subaru's better than Otto in season 1, because you really don't get to know anything about Otto.
Yeah, it's just a matter of screen time.
Yeah, I honestly say that Subaru wasn't better than Otto in season 1 anyways. Subaru kind of sucked in most of season 1. But yeah, that's it for ReZero episode number 44. If you like the episode, leave us a comment down below as always. And yeah, we'll be talking about it next week, and we'll be talking about it till the end of this season, of course. It's a big one. We've kind of started our podcast with that, and I'm not going to say we'll finish our podcast with that, but we're going to keep talking about it as the show comes out. Okay, on to the next one. So this week we mentioned that Promised Neverland is not here. Took a recap episode, so we'll be back to talking about that next week. But for this week, we're going to use its spot to talk about the other Thursday anime, which is Quintessential Quintuplets, episode number 6.
The Last Exam.
Okay, they start this one. So we didn't talk about last week's episode, but it's pretty... You learn most of it. You learn that Yotsuba is kind of the one who's especially failing the group.
Yeah.
The reason they moved to begin with was because she failed and they all went with her. Right. So she decides that she wants to, study hardier than anyone else and that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, you see... In this one, it shows with them taking the exam first, and then at time skips back to them learning.
Yeah, because at the end of the last episode, they kind of established that they're going to work hard towards this exam. That's going to be the culmination of this.
Well, yeah, if they don't, their father was like, you know, you guys are going. You guys are going back to.
Yeah, you guys move back to the apartment, and you're going to go to this one prestigious girls' school that I have connections with that are going to make sure you fucking pass.
Yeah, and they're all like, no. So A, they want to prove, to themselves they're smart enough, and then B, they also want to kind of prove that. Usugi, whatever the fuck his name is, it's really hard for us to pronounce. He is actually a good teacher because right now it kind of looks like he's a failure, even though he actually is doing really good. They're all just so fucking stupid.
Yeah, they've all made massive improvements over how they were.
Yeah,
so they're just still pretty dumb compared to everyone else.
And then of course too, you get Valentine's Day chocolates in this episode. I mean, it's just a standard slice life anime thing. So.
I mean, it was well timed.
It was, yeah.
So, I mean, it was as close to Valentine's Day as they were going to get. So
yeah, so, there's a little bit of subplot for a couple of side characters in this. Like, Miku obviously wants to make good chocolates to give to him. Yep. And she also says that, when this exam finally comes out, she's been doing, like, one of the, like, probably the best of all of them. And she says when this exam comes out and she has the best score, she's then going to use that time to, like, go beyond the student and teacher, and, like, confess her love for Usugi, basically.
Yep.
Which is her plan. And she tells that to Ichika. And she's like, oh, that's good for you. And then even there, Miku kind of acknowledges, she knows that Ichika has feelings for him as well. And she just doesn't give a fuck. She's like, no, I'm going to do the best on this exam and do it. And then, so that's good. But, obviously she sucks terribly at cooking.
Yeah, so she ends up asking for help from Nino, who actually helps her make some decent chocolates.
Technically, she asks for help from Ichika, who asked Nino to help her.
But at the end, she does refer to Nino and says, can you help me with this?
Yes, Nino is the cooking one. We've already learned that. Each of them have one specific thing they're good at mainly, and she's definitely the cooking one. So yeah, she helps her, which is good. Even though, like, I don't know how you fuck up. Most of the time, you just buy store chocolate, you melt it down, and then you put it in molds.
I think she was trying to make it from scratch.
I think so, because I think Nino at one point did specifically say, like, why don't you just buy this stuff? And she's like, no. She's like, I want to make it. So that's like her little side thing going on. Obviously, Yotsuba still is the failure of the group, so she's trying especially hard when it comes to studying and that kind of stuff. In this one, you also learn what the hell? Nah, all I can think of. Who's the other one? Itsuki, the revelation with the mother. So on I think was it the 14th?
Yeah, she died on, I believe, August 14th, but every month on the 14th, she goes and visits the grave.
Every single one she goes to visit the grave. That's why she's not there for one of these days. And in this one, when she goes to visit the grave, she's actually met by her mother's old student when her mother was a teacher. She tells her a little bit about the mother, and that's where Itsuki's like, oh, I'm going to become a teacher. And then the girl's like, whoa, hold it. She's like, don't just be a teacher to try and be your mother. She's like, don't just try and be your mother.
There's nothing wrong with pursuing something you want to and respecting someone who did that, but don't just try and imitate her.
And this isn't the first time that we've seen her, like, even the other sisters in, like, their fight acknowledge that she's just trying to, like, to be the mother.
Yeah.
Which is one thing, I guess, when you're a child, especially if the mother passed away, that's obviously going to be something that happens. And, she seemed to... out of the sisters so far about the mother anyway, she seemed to be the one that has talked about it the most in her character anyways.
Yeah.
Been most affected by it.
True. All the other ones were really more tied to the sisters, while I think Itsuki was definitely more about the mother.
Yeah.
So,
but even in this episode, though, the one question, obviously, when she says she wants to be a teacher, as the audience, we're like, but you're stupid as fuck. Like, you can barely learn. Even in, like, the early on, she's obviously been a lot better this season.
Oh, yeah. She's definitely made progress. But even when she was like, hey, I want to become a tutor to make some money, it's like...
Yeah, even Usugi's like, no. He's like, just no.
Yeah, she's just like, I could just stay one lesson ahead. It's like, that doesn't work.
But even in this one, like, I think Yotsuba gives him the idea where, I believe it's this episode where they're going to tutor each other. Or was that, I think that's this episode, or was that the last episode?
That was this episode, yeah, because he realized it when they were on the Ferris wheel, when they were taking the day off. So
so basically, as we've already learned, each one of them is, like, stronger in one subject than the others.
Yep.
And then, they don't always listen to him. They have a hard time paying attention to him. So instead what he uses is each of them kind of holds, like, one session to, teach the other ones, which, works really well and makes a lot of sense. That's kind of how you do it if you were in a group where everybody's better at one thing. Kind of teach it around, and it works well.
That's kind of the ideal situation in a learning scenario.
But even from that, we see that Itsuki really actually enjoys that. So it's not, and I think she in this one she does make the decision that she wants to be a teacher, not just to be her mother, but also because while she's teaching her sisters about stuff like that, she actually really enjoys it. And
she said it helps her learn it herself.
Yeah, and she likes. There's a one point where I think she teaches Yotsuba something, who's, like, really happy, and it's like the feeling that she gets when the other person has learned something is really good. So she decides she wants to be the teacher, which is good. And then, of course, we do see the culmination of the exam in this one. That's mainly how it finishes. Each one kind of shows their score. They talk about their total. They all still sucked in something or other. Like, none of them were crazy good.
A lot of just barely passed scores shown here, but
yeah. Miku wasn't. No, Miku was there. Nino wasn't there.
No, Nino was. Oh, what was she doing?
She said that she told one of them what the score was, but she wasn't there. And then that's where Usugi was like, "I'm gonna go get her." He's like, "No, we should all be here for this kind of thing." So he goes to get her, and that's where Miku obviously thinks she has the best score, and she says it, and that's where Ichika comes in like, "No, fuck you, Miku. Check out this score."
Yeah, beat her by 3 points?
Yeah, genius. Because now Miku is self-conscious about confessing her love because she's not the smartest one. Ichika just fucking 300 IQ chess, like ahead of her in the game. Checkmate. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah, because obviously Ichika, best girl.
Yeah, we're definitely getting a little bit more Ichika this season. So
good.
We got the Nino, we got the Ichika. I think we're gonna get a little more Yotsuba if I remember right.
I feel like she had a little bit more character development in this one and the last one. Being like the whole reason. Like obviously we've already known that they've all been dumb, but we would have assumed all of them failed originally. But the fact that they all passed the test to not have to. Like to not be so dumb that they were basically kicked out of that school.
Yeah.
But then it was just Yotsuba, and then they all went with her, because they're good sisters. That teaches us a lot about her. Obviously about why she's so upset. But I feel like that would have come in earlier on in the show. Like she never really seemed to care that much that she was really stupid earlier on.
Yeah.
It really just came like, this is the test now. I guess like she really good thing the father gave them like an ultimatum, or else would she ever have given a fuck?
I don't think so, because I think she's always the type who'll go wherever she's needed. But I don't think she ever felt like she was needed for studying.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's what we kind of seen that with like the athletic clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, she has a hard time saying no, but she can kind of get away with studying because she can just get everything wrong.
I'm still excited to see more with the father and Usugi because there's like that past. Obviously, he was the doctor.
Yeah,
we saw that in the flashback. But he's like, I will never let my daughters like love him. Remember the hell he said in one of the more recent.
You cannot
episodes?
have them, is what he said.
Yeah, and then there's I still like the whole like. Usugi just completely burning his bridge down to like not be able to work there because he thought he wasn't doing it right. Just to, I don't know. It's just I want to know what the fuck's going on with those two.
Yeah, I think they have a very similar personality.
I think so too.
They're both very all or nothing. So the moment Usugi just said like, "Nope, I cannot. I have to burn this bridge so that there's no chance I can go back to it because it's easy money." I think that the father kind of latched onto it. It's like, okay, I can respect that you're going to do this, but if you come near my daughters, I'm gonna banish you. I
feel like it's more like he respects that he does it so much is that he's gonna help him in a way. He's gonna act like he's supposed to act in the situation, which is where the bridge has been burned. And I feel like he's definitely gonna come around at some point.
Probably, yeah. I mean, didn't they establish early on that he does get married to one of them? So I feel like he has to come around at some
episode number
point.
1. We just don't know which one. Okay, now here's I don't know. I've never mentioned this on the podcast, but in like episode number 1 or number 2. When they're like, it starts with them like preparing for the wedding, like getting ready, and Usugi's like telling the story, and then it shows the bride at one point like open up like the closet, and there's like a bunch of wedding dresses in there. Does he marry them all? Okay.
I don't think the series is done, so I don't think that's an established answer.
Okay, I'm telling you, go back at some point and watch.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
There was a part where I was like, okay, like it was like the bride-to-be was like dressed or getting ready, and then they like open up a closet or something like that, and there's multiple wedding dresses. And I was like, okay, this is sus. Who just has prepped multiple dresses? He's fucking marrying them all. Which I don't know exactly if that's going to fly, but I guess that's one way to avoid you don't want your fans' best girl to lose.
I mean, yeah, because I feel like polygamy becomes a pretty common trope in some of these series in some capacity.
It's true, but not to the extent of actually in a realistic world setting, actually getting married to the multiple of them. Most of the time, it's like some sort of weird isekai fantasy thing. We're sure that's okay. We don't know the rules of the world. But yeah, it was a good episode. Obviously, the passing the test was like a big part. That was like, once again, I thought that was going to be a longer arc than like 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering the athletic arc, like Yotsuba being part of the athletics club took longer than that.
It did take longer, yeah, and like the Nino Itsuki fight. So where are they going from here? What's the next arc going to be?
I've read the manga.
Okay, what do you think the next arc's going to be? I don't know. Like they passed the test, obviously. It doesn't mean they didn't like graduate school. Like there's going to be more tests and stuff. This was just the big. The father kind of set out the limitations on here. They passed. Now they can continue living their apartment, trying to make money.
Yeah, I mean, the big part of it's going to be just surviving in that environment because, as they said, Ichika's running out of money. So We're probably going to see people get some jobs and see them adapting to real world life.
I mean, come on. They already have jobs already set. Okay, so Itsuki's going to eventually start tutoring people to try and work on her
but
future
she's
career.
still an idiot.
She is, yeah, but she's going to start like tutoring children maybe. You know? Her
Yeah.
father's rich. He has connections for sure. Boom, done. We already know Nina's going to work as like a cook, or maybe she's going to get a job at the place Subaru works where they make pastries and stuff.
Subaru?
Or no, fucking other Subaru.
Uesugi?
Yeah. You know, he obviously works like the cake shop. They've kind of showed his manager now is becoming like a slight character. You know, he's even in the opening. And you know, he's
Sure.
nice. He's nice to these girls. He's like, oh, you know, all the desserts you want on him. Like it's coming right out of his pay. So I feel like Nina's going to start working there, getting ready to learn how to, you know, bake and that kind of stuff a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yotsuba, something athletic, probably. I don't know.
Dog walking, maybe?
Maybe. Ichika, she's going to keep acting. That's a fact. Who am I missing? Am I missing
Miku.
one? Miku, she's useless. I don't know what the hell she's going to do.
Jesus.
Her like forte or whatever, like being like Japanese history, that's cool and all. The fuck's that going to help you with? Like in a job wise, that's like when people are like, oh, I go to school for like literature, you know, it's like, okay, cool. So or it's like, I go to school for history. I love history myself, but that gives you like one option, a history teacher, you know? So
Yeah.
I don't know what realistic job that's going to help her with.
I mean, I feel like Miku would be a better fit for tutoring than Itsuki. Like in terms of scores and application.
yeah, but not personality though. Personality, she doesn't
True.
have it, you know, she's too quiet. But yeah, I don't know. We're probably going to see they're probably all going to get jobs to start living and thriving and stuff like that. Plus, they do eventually have to pay Usugi because, you know, he's just kind of there all the time. And the whole point of the story is that he lives such a poor life is that he needs money. You know, we
Yeah.
start the show showing that he gets like the cheapest option for all the food and that kind of stuff. And, you know, we see his family. There was something in this episode. There was okay, my question here. I don't know the ages. So it's when the mom's student is talking, and she talks about how she's friends
Yeah.
with a bunch of delinquents.
Yeah.
Age-wise, unsure. One of them was a blonde delinquent, though. Usugi's father. Possible? Don't know the ages here, but
I mean,
I feel like his father's a young father. We've
I
seen him.
think
He's like
he is,
the blonde,
yeah.
cool guy. And we've seen this girl now is in her like 20s.
The problem is that she said the mother died, 5 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
So we don't really know how long it took her to become a student, but if that was Uesugi's father, he would have had to have gotten someone knocked up in high school.
He's a badass. What can I say?
God damn it.
Yeah, I don't know. They showed her like as the delinquent though, and like there was like the two friends that were with her. One of them was just like the spiky hair blonde guy. I was like, that could be him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a pretty generic shorthand for delinquent. So
That's true. Yeah, that kid who dyes his hair blonde in a world where people have like blue hair and shit all the time.
Yeah, I mean, again, usually the blue hair and the pink hair is usually like stylistic.
That's true.
Well, blonde is supposed to be like you're actually blonde.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes like when an anime, it's not even mentioned the fact that they're blonde, and sometimes an anime is mentioned the fact that they're blonde. I get like confused.
Yeah, I think it depends on the world, because I think some worlds are actually like acknowledging like, hey, they have a bunch of different hair colors for some reason. Don't question it. Well, others are like, no, these are supposed to be realistic hair colors. Blonde is weird.
Yeah, like, realistically in an anime, it should be like the entire class has black hair. Maybe one kid has blonde hair, and he's like, "Oh my god, that kid dyed his hair blonde." Some schools don't even they'll like kick you out if you dye your hair blonde in Japan.
I mean, there's some schools that are like really strict on just your uniform. Like if you show up without your necktie, you're not allowed.
Yeah, but it's anime. The kids always have to have a cool. The badass kid always has like a different uniform than the rest. You know.
Yeah, there's
he
always
never
like
wears the jacket. He's got the tie down.
There's always like a specific like alternate uniform you're allowed to wear that only one person wears.
Yep.
I mean, there are some anime worlds like, what was the one? I think Toradora was probably the weirdest for me, because there are characters that have like blue and pink hair, but then one guy dyes his hair blonde and everyone freaks out.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So-
that's a classic. Oh yeah, that's probably all we can really talk about for quintessential quintuplets. Obviously, slice of life, so there's not huge plot developments, but in general, the whole like ultimatum with passing the exam and stuff like that was a pretty large plot, even if it only went on
Yeah.
for 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I think they know that you can only wring so much out of a bunch of girls sitting around a table studying.
That's true.
So
I think we're going to get a little bit more less study in the next couple episodes, maybe more
Yeah.
realistic stuff, as you said, like getting
Yeah.
a job.
I mean, we might see a
Couple
little
more
bit more
wacky
from the past in
situations.
Rena.
That's true. I mean, we obviously have to figure out what the fuck's going on since he lost his little charm thing that he's supposed to, you know,
Yeah.
there's plot there to be developed, but that seems more like late season stuff.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it for quintessential quintuplets. As I said, we don't always know if we're going to be talking about it each week. It'll just be depending on if or Horimiya, or once again, if we have an open spot, then we'll probably be mentioning it. But yeah, if you liked this episode, if you have any thoughts, theories, and any of that, leave them down below. As always, next up on the list, a big one, Kumo Desu ga Nanika, episode number 6.
The hero and the demon lord.
Okay. Let's start by saying we got a little debated in this episode. It obviously starts off with the hero specifically entering the middle stratum, as we knew from like the post-credit scene last week that I definitely watched on time. And you know, they even like were like, oh, like what's he here for? And then when he's like, oh, we're here to kill a spider, like one that's been like different, we're like, oh fuck, boys, it's coming. And then obviously as he runs into these other spiders, and you know, we learn that you know Kumoko was not the spider he was there to slay.
Yeah, they start off with a few what was it, greater Terratex?
Yeah, I think so. That would have been the route if she would have went like the bigger option.
Yeah.
And then there was the crazy white one that was like really fast and strong. But I believe no stronger than current Kumoko. So I think that the one that he fought that was obviously shown to be very difficult, that was hard first party, was about the same level as current Kumoko, if I had to guess based off stats that we've seen.
It had a very similar design. They didn't show the actual stats. He just referenced that he believes they're all over 2,000.
Yeah.
Which, did we see Kumoko's stats in this episode?
I don't know. I feel like they're definitely over 1,000 by now.
They're definitely in the 4 digits. I don't know if she's cracked the 2,000 mark, though.
She was over 1,000 on them, I think, after she got like the pride and stuff like that, which was before her this evolution right now.
True.
And this evolution, I think, was a very big one.
Yeah, because it was Zoa Ella.
Yeah. So A, different name. Different name means you're getting big. B, definitely the coolest design. The fucking scythe hands. This is the one I feel like is more marketable that we've seen from like I think images. If you like saw, you know, like the manga covers and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah, this is the one that you see in a lot of the opening and the ending. Like other than that one like stat screen we were getting at the start of the opening.
Yeah.
I do think maybe the poison Terratech might have had some marketability as like a plush.
Yeah, like it was a little cuter with like the jester stuff.
Yeah.
But this one, when it comes to like badassery with the scythe hands like the white and stuff like that, was much cooler. And like the gold reflection stuff, like, you know, whenever like the light hit, it looked very like gold. Looked very metallic.
It looked like a regal demon lord style gear.
Yeah. And then, you know, even in this episode, we do see like it kind of splits between, we get 3 technically different perspectives. We see Kumoko at some point still brawling. She fights the what are they called? It's not an eel in this one, is it?
Oh God, what was it?
Was it an eel? I think it was an eel.
Yeah, it was an eel, because that's what you killed and used for the protection for evolution.
Yes, which I thought was going to go not well, and then it went well, and I was like, oh fuck, okay. Well, when she first started, like she killed it, she was like, oh, I'm going to ring it around like a house so that way it can evolve. And I was like worried at this point. I was like, oh fuck, this isn't going to go well. Like something's going to come and get you. But then the next scene's just her like coming out all evolved. I'm like, oh, never mind. Fuck, it's worked out well for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think like in this area that's a pretty high tier predator, so I don't think anyone's going to fuck with it. So.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, and at this point in the episode, we're also seeing like Julius and them still walk around looking for the spider.
True.
This is before we learn that the revelation that you know Kumoko's not the spider he's looking for.
Yeah, the one they were looking for was they referred to it as a white terror, I think.
Yeah.
So that might be like the next step up for Kumoko.
It could be. I don't think she's gonna. I think that might be either an option in one of the next evolution paths, like when it splits between like 2 again, or it would have been an option on the other path that she didn't take. I don't think we're ever going to see her. Now, once again, we haven't seen her in comparison to human size. So for all we know, she is around the same size as that, but I don't think so.
Yeah, because just based on the pathways and all the creatures she's fighting, I'd say she's... Because that wasn't a very big spider that they were fighting.
It wasn't as big as the other ones, but it was still like half the size of a human, like roughly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say she might be just a little smaller than that.
Yeah, I think she's probably like a quarter size of a human. But I don't know. Yeah, her new evolution looks dope. Obviously, in this one, we see Julius and his party fight. That's much more like isekai, like what you were expecting. He's got the party with like the fighter, the cleric. Yeah. He's the hero. And then obviously, they do win the battle, you know, because he's a little OP. And as they win the battle, he gets like a sus feeling that he's being watched or something like that. And he kind of turns around. He just like ends up leaving. And then at the end of the episode, we see it pan over to the demon lord. In his fucking demon lord castle, talking to one of his henchmen. And then I think someone in the comments pointed out that in this world, it's like there's one hero at a time and one demon lord, and it's like it's a title, it's like a skill or something that they each have. Right. And I think they said that the skill makes it so that you always your stats like boost up to match the other one, so they're like perfectly even, basically.
Shit.
But instead of it being like another like isekai and stuff like that, where it's just, you know, one person's like known as like a hero because he's so cool. In this world, it's just like there's just one. It's actually like a title that you have. There's the one hero, the one demon lord, and they're like meant to fight. They have a skill that specifically is there for when they fight. But yeah, and like that definitely leads us some questions to the future. Obviously, like, which side is Kumiko going to be on when it comes to hero versus demon lord?
Yeah, because she is rocking the Demon Lord skill.
She's rocking demon lord skill, and she also keeps leveling up her
Pride.
Well, pride,
or taboo.
Yeah, her taboo, which obviously is not looked upon highly on the human side, we assume, from what we've seen.
Yeah, because we've seen a few people in the comments mention that this is something you get from doing something that's pretty abhorrent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty widely looked down upon.
Yeah, and we've seen obviously the super religious freak girl inside the class specifically mentioned, if you see anybody with taboo, tell me and I'll kill them.
Yeah.
So whatever the religion, I don't know. We don't know how many different religious groups there are. Maybe this is the only one, but that religious group especially does not want association with anyone with the taboo skill. So
yeah, I mean, based on what we know of it, I think it's a pretty reasonable thing. It's like, hey, you murdered your
that would
family.
Be if like if there was a human and they ate another human, like a cannibal in this world, we assume they would get the taboo skill. So most people would want to hunt down a cannibal.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. Kumiko's evolution, absolutely badass. I'm excited for that. I feel like we got to like the coolest one so far.
It definitely is.
With the sights and stuff. I don't know. People have mentioned, we've asked a few times, like, like how long of a time frame do you think until she leaves the labyrinth? Because like Kumiko in Labyrinth versus Kumiko out of Labyrinth is going to be like a very different show, right? In its own sense.
Yeah, because as it is right now, it's her stumbling around, finding new environments, finding new creatures to fight.
And powering up. Like, as we mentioned before, I think by the time she leaves, I mean, she's already pretty OP, but by the time she leaves the Labyrinth, she's going to be so strong that it seems like the rest of the world, right? This is the biggest, like, the biggest labyrinth, the biggest dungeon on this, like, continent or whatever it is.
I mean, it's intercontinental.
So by the time she leaves, what is going to be a threat for her in the outside world?
I don't think anything's going to be.
What's the show going to do? Is it going to be like a fight between her and some of these really powerful humans? But we've already seen that like humans in general, stat wise, aren't very good in comparison.
Yeah, to buff that up, they get a variety of different skills and the ability to use tools and weapons and things like that.
Yeah, they get the human intelligence, the ability to really like learn and evolve, in the mind, while monsters have better base stats, but they're kind of stupid. But obviously, as we've seen with both Faye and Kumiko, this reincarnation of a human into a monster body seems to be like the ultimate.
Yeah,
you get the best of both worlds.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of conflict between her and Faye directly, even if they don't realize that who they're fighting.
It's possible, yeah. I feel like at this point, if Faye learns who she's fighting, then it might change a little bit. But from what I've heard from the light novel, stuff like that, you never even learn Kumiko's real name.
Yeah, as it stands, I don't think they've ever actually. I think the author leaned into it at one point.
In this one, they called her something. They called her like Wataba or something like that, or something along those lines. When they said they were looking for her,
I missed that
Wakaba.
part.
I don't know. It was when they were talking with the elf teacher, and they're like, and she's like, "Oh, have you found this character?" She said like her last name or something like that. But I think in the manga or the light novel, they never actually even gave her a name. Kumiko is a fan name.
Yeah,
Spider Girl. So I don't know. I would be curious if they are gonna actually make them meet, because if they met, then you kind of assume we learn more about Kumiko's like human side, the backstory, which seems to be something that's even secretive inside the light novel. So I'm not exactly sure if they're gonna do that or how they're gonna do that, but that could be really far away too.
Yeah, there's a chance that they're not gonna get to that in the season if they do ever get to it. So that might be like a next season or.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where the show goes. Obviously, with something like, it's hard not to compare it in a sense to Reincarnated as a Slime, even though where we are in Kumo Desu is like episode 1 in Reincarnated as a Slime when it comes to like power level and that's just the storyline. By the time we get to episode number 2, Rimuru is out of the powerful dungeon, already kind of OP from one thing he did. While in this one, we're at episode 6 now, and we don't even know. It could be another 12 episodes or another 6 episodes before she even gets out of the dungeon.
Yeah, we don't really have an idea of how powerful she is in regards to other people at this point. So,
but yeah, Rimuru's main story obviously became about developing his like city of monsters, kind of thing, like developing this like utopia.
Yeah, just kind of stumbling into allies and building up this group until he eventually built either a village into a city into a nation.
Yeah, now that doesn't seem like what Kumoko's going to do at all.
Oh God,
which makes me wonder what is going to be the story when she gets outside of this dungeon. Because like she'll already be stronger than pretty much everything outside of the dungeon, so it won't be like this constant struggle to survive kind of thing. Could be about trying to make contact with humans, but we don't even know if like the human path is going to be the one she takes, getting all these like skills like taboo and demon lord and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I mean, you might be able to explain away taboo as like, hey, I was born as a spider and my choice was eat my sibling or die.
Yeah.
But Demon Lord,
Yeah, and like, or she could go down the path, or maybe she goes to the Demon Lord's castle,
that is true.
becomes a henchman until eventually she overtakes him. I don't, no idea.
Because one of the things is like when they introduced the Demon Lord, it's the spider lady from the opening.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about how someone was getting out of line. They showed the spider that the hero was fighting look scared.
Mm-hmm.
So does she have some sort of like force she can exert over other people who have this skill, or
Maybe, or maybe she's just connected to all spiders.
I mean, possibly
Spider vision. Now, okay, we've mentioned this before, but do you think that Kumoko is getting a human form?
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
But like, when or how? Because we've never seen anything with her. Because especially before, we could have maybe guessed that this spider girl was going to be Kumoko.
That was what my original theory was, but
now we've seen it's not, and I feel like we would have heard more from like the light novel and manga readers about getting a human form.
I mean,
I feel like even they probably haven't seen.
I feel like they've been pretty good about avoiding spoilers for us. I think that's largely because
they want to see
us being idiots trying
to
to guess what this is going to happen is kind of the main entertainment of seeing us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they would have outright just said like, by the way, she's going to become an actual human with spider limbs or something like that.
I don't like the sound of that. Anyways,
like my brain automatically thinks of like Rachne or something like from what was it, Monster Musume or whatever.
Yep.
Like, and that is just an absolute terrifying idea to me. That
Yeah.
turns into something like the spider.
I mean, also that was extra terrifying because it was hypersexualized and it's a spider. And most humans don't even want to like. I don't even want to kill a spider for the most part because I don't even want to like. I hate it so much I don't even want to kill it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what's you're saying? If you don't see a spider, it's trying to get in your mouth.
No, if you don't see, if there's a spider and then you like hit it and it's gone, then it's already in your mouth. That's the secret. It's just a fact. There's nothing more terrifying than that moment where you like hit a spider, then it falls, and then you can't find it. You're like, oh well, it's already in my mouth. So, a good episode of Kumo Desu. Obviously, this evolution was dope. I'm very curious and excited to see where we go in the future because once again, we just have no fucking clue. We just have no idea about anything.
Just seeing this progression, I'm even just curious about what she's going to end up fighting next. Because, like, where do you go from there?
Because the thing is, she's going up, right? She's going up, which they're supposed to technically get less difficult as she goes up.
Yeah, but is she just going to massacre a large number of creatures? And because they talk about how in this evolution, she's now stronger than like the monkey thing, and there was one other they mentioned.
Well, so far, for the most part, I think up until mainly in the middle stratum where she's been fighting these. Well, I mean, even while she's been fighting the seahorses, she's been using the human intelligence that she's had to overpower the base stats.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
But now her stats are starting to get up so high that she's not only going to overpower them via stats, but also with intelligence. Once again, making her much more overpowered.
Yeah, I mean, even just her poison synthesis has kind of carried her so far. So
yeah, the poison. Obviously, the webs were a really good thing early on, but the webs we haven't really seen as much of. I think in this, at one point, she uses the ability to just make the web stronger for like a couple seconds.
Yeah, but it drains all of her SP, so she can't do it regularly. So.
Yeah. She also got the pretty powerful skill in this, where as long as she has MP, she'll survive with 1 HP.
Which is just bullshit.
Which is really good. It didn't even mention specifically if it like drains your MP, if you can only be used like once, or as long as she has MP, she'll never die.
Yeah, like I don't think they would go the route of like you just become immortal as long as you still have MP, because that's a very situational death condition.
Yeah. I don't know. I bet you we're gonna see it being used in like the next episode or so.
Probably, yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, the one thing now we're really curious about is like what's gonna offer a threat to her as she moves up. Maybe before she ends up leaving this dungeon, she's going to have to fight one of these Earth Dragons. She's run into 2 of them now.
I mean, yeah, I think either dealing with an Earth Dragon or running into people that are trying to actively kill her.
Yeah, I think that her running into an Earth Dragon and killing an Earth Dragon is definitely going to propel her to that next level.
I mean, yeah, but where does she, like, I guess she could go to the White Terror stage, which is just like the glowing Super Saiyan form of what she has now.
I mean, the one thing that we don't know, because you know how when she gets to level 10, she gets the option to evolve?
Yeah.
Let's say she's level 8. And she kills an Earth Dragon, which would give her 15 levels. Does she only get 2 levels, so she's level 10? She doesn't get any more since she capped off before evolving?
I don't think this is a cap situation. I think this is one of those things where it would just kind of carry over to the next set. Or she would gain bonus stats of her existing thing and just get a bonus when she evolves.
My question now is she's been evolving very fast. I know that a lot of people in the comments have talked about in the manga how so many things took a lot longer. They mentioned at one point when she runs into all those like bee things, in the manga or the light novel, they sting her and she has to recover for like 2 weeks. Like every single thing in the manga we've seen, it takes a lot longer in the light novel and stuff like that to actually do.
Because even the bee sting, I think they mentioned how the wound actually started to fester and was infected, and there was a whole other level of worry to that.
Yeah, while in this, like, obviously we're taking it a lot faster because it's an anime and kind of shit needs to move a little bit faster. But we've been seeing evolutions really fast, which makes you wonder, like, something like this, we're at this cool evolution now that looks very marketable. How long until she just evolves past it, though? Is the evolutions from going to kind of be like evolutions where the look kind of looks very similar, but she gets like small differences, or...
Yeah, because I mean, early on, that's what we got a lot of, right? It was a lot of just like there's an additional pink stripe. There's a little
it was really the small poison pterodactyl, whatever it was, the one that gave her like the jester like look was the first one that looked really different, and this one looks even more different than that.
Yeah, but this is the one we see in the opening, we see in the ending. So
yeah, so the question comes down to if she's not gonna, like, maybe now she's at the level where it's gonna take her a lot longer to evolve. Like this is the big difference, like the big kind of cap. That, or as she evolves now, they're going to be smaller differences for a little while.
Yeah, because I mean, even just the name of this evolution, the Zoa makes me feel like if I saw that in an RPG, I think that would be a unique or a high level monster.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a different name than just like small pterodactyl, poison pterodactyl.
Yeah, it's not categorization; it's an actual like name.
Yeah, and for all we know, like that's like a, you know, for the next like 3 or 4 evolutions, you're still a, you know, that exact thing. Maybe you're just going to be like a poison Zoel. You're gonna be like, it's gonna be kind of like how that, you know, pterodactyl, there was like 4 evolutions worth of pterodactyl, and now there's gonna be like 4 evolutions of that where the look isn't gonna change much until, you know, she gets past that, and then it's gonna be like a whole different thing.
Yeah, it could just be like bigger barbs, longer scythe, sharper scythe,
a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, like very small differences as she's in that subcategory, and then we're gonna save it for like the next one where she beats that is gonna be like season 2 or something, where, you know, when you change seasons in anime, you have to change something about the looks typically.
Typically, yeah.
But yeah, very entertaining episode. I always love when the people from the Reddit and, you know, the light novel readers come in. They give us, a lot of times they just give us information that might never be brought up at all that, you know, in the light novel was mentioned here. So we learn a little bit extra. So we almost feel sometimes like we're going in with the intelligence of a light novel reader, but not exactly. We don't know anything about the future, but we know a little bit more about the past than we should.
We have enough context to make sense of what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. But each time we talk about Kumo Desu, we say something stupid in the video that someone corrects, and then we look back later and like, oh yeah, we know this now.
I'm honestly surprised no one's called me out on wanting Julius dead.
Someone did. Someone
I
did,
missed that comment.
Okay, someone did do the last week, the week before, and even I was like, yeah, man, I don't understand the obsession. They're like, no, Julius is best boy, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't get it. I don't understand why he wants him dead, but
I just want the drama, man.
Yeah, I don't. That seems like such like a high level of drama for like the show. This show's current like emotional level. I'm not saying it'll never happen. It just seems like watching Kumoko go from being like a, you know, a human reincarnated to having to deal with monsters to all of a sudden killing and eating a human seems like such a jump.
I mean, I wasn't even saying it had to be her who killed him. I just wanted something to happen to him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was a chance that I thought one of his party members was going to die while fighting the spider, but I mean, he's just too OP.
I mean, he almost got guffed. His health went pretty low.
It's true, but yeah, I guess I don't know if he would have fully died though. Maybe like, you know, for all we know, the cleric has like a revive skill or something.
Yeah,
we don't know the parameters of this world still. We don't know, you know, how much the magic abilities go to. Because I feel like they would have taken it more seriously if he was that close to dying. Because he's the hero, and imagine he just dies to a spider.
I mean, it looked like a pretty badass spider.
It did, like, and that's what I'm saying though. This spider, I think, was probably around the same level, or maybe a little higher than Kumoko.
Yeah, I think it's
this
the same.
Is how OP I think she is.
It's definitely the same evolution line.
But yeah, that's it for Kumo Desu. Leave all your thoughts, opinions, comments down below. Obviously, if you're here watching this part, you're probably from the subreddit, so thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this in the comments, but not every single subreddit is as nice to us. Obviously, I understand that there's this big deal with self-promotion. You know, a lot of people out there are just looking to promote themselves, make more money. We don't make any money. We're not doing this for the money. A lot of times, you know, especially with a lot of anime, we just want more people about that anime to come discuss with us. That's the whole point of the channels, for the discussions. And as you can tell, something like Kumo Desu takes up like 75% of our comments. But then when you see there's only like 1 or 2 comments every single week for a lot of the other shows, because a lot of times the subreddits don't even allow us to post.
Yeah.
You know, how many discussions are there around Jujutsu Kaisen in the comments? Very few, because for all we know, we don't have as many people coming from there because we're not even allowed to post. Pretty sure they've permanently banned us. Even this week, ReZero, a little bit more fair. ReZero says you can only post 3 self-promotion posts every month. So I mean, to 1 episode every single month for us, we cannot post about there, which kind of sucks. But yeah, you know, I'm just really happy that everyone from the Kumo Desu subreddit has been really good so far. You know, no issues with the mods, nothing like that. And yeah, it's just been cool. I hope more anime in the future, is like that with subreddits because, we're going to be
Hopefully.
talking about new shows eventually when all these ones end. And I just hope everyone's as good. And I hope a lot of the people who are here just for one show like Kumo Desu stick around and find another show next season to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. On to the next thing. Just talking about it. We have Jujutsu Kaisen, episode number 18.
Sage.
Okay, so we finally get a different name. It's not just, Kyoto School Battle Rumble 35. This episode, we got exactly what we expected in pretty much every single way. We had a fight between the one guy and Megami, which was pretty expected. I got a little bit confused at one point because at one point, Megami blocks like an attack with his tonfas and they break. And then the next scene, he has them and they're non-broken. And I'm like, did I miss a part where he pulled out a second pair or something?
I think they cracked. I don't think they fully broke.
Okay, because he definitely then in the next part they break again, and I hopefully he doesn't use them again because I'll be really confused.
Yeah, no, I think what happened is he took the hit and they cracked a little bit, and that's what you saw. And then he kept using them until they fully broke, and they just discarded them.
Okay, so yeah, this fight, we learned a little bit. Obviously, the guy talks about how he's from like one of the 3 big families. He mentioned specifically about how how disappointing it was that both Mai and was it Saki? Their name?
I feel like it's Maki.
No, not that. They're not both M's. I know that.
Okay.
I think it might be Mai and Saki. I don't remember. But either way, the two, the weapon sister and the gun sister, he talked about how disappointing it is that neither of them really got like the Zenin clan technique kind of stuff.
Right.
And then he kind of mentions that Megami's from like the same family, but Megami's like, I don't give a fuck what family I'm from kind of situation.
Yeah.
Which is pretty typical. We learn a little bit about the guy's power with his blood. So, he puts like his blood on the arrow tips. He has them prepped too. So they'll do whatever the fuck he says, basically.
Yeah, he specifically coated them with blood beforehand, so he wouldn't have to cut himself during the fight.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
Like it's kind of nice to see someone with that type of power actually prep ahead of time.
Yeah, all I can think about is back Hay from Darker Than Black.
Yeah.
Where like cuts his wrist and explodes the blood. Imagine if Hay just had pre-prepped blood packs. He could just throw and explode.
I mean, that would have been a lot better, yeah. Or even something like Dead Man Wonderland where everyone uses blood for their powers. It's like, you feel like somebody would prepare some blood packs so you'd have that on hand. But
yeah, so you don't have to, currently like run out of energy and die because you're low on blood.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see that power. He's obviously a little bit smarter. The fight's not going great for Megami, but he does kind of show that. Now, he does the hand thing. So Megami does the hand thing about to use that technique that we thought that he was going to use before when he was against Sukuna, because he was not doing the same hand thing. He did something a little different. His hands kind of went through the ground when he was facing Sukuna, if you remember that.
Yeah, it's something to do with his blood technique, because they are tied to shadows. Mm-hmm. It's something about summoning using shadows as a medium.
But in this one, he's like, oh, I'm going to do something super OP, and then he summons a new Shikigami, or whatever the hell it's called. He summons a new elephant, which is strong. The animation on the water burst looked so much like Demon Slayer, yeah.
It's definitely stylized water, which I do appreciate.
Oh, it looked fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
It just very much reminded me of, obviously, the water breath technique thing on the sword.
Yeah.
Very similar, but very good looking. And, we don't really get to see the outcome of that fight, because then it swaps over to, I really got to remember his name one day, the mouth guy.
Oh, my God.
Starts with an S, I think.
Yeah, I don't. I want to call him Onigiri, and I know it's wrong.
But yeah, they swap over to him. We got a little bit of shows the principal talking and showing that they're actually using a 1st grade curse instead of a 2nd grade curse. Because then Itadori is gonna get killed by it. Yeah, I don't think that would happen to begin with. Even if his plan went flawlessly, I don't think this 1st grade is gonna kill Itadori like he thinks.
I mean, I think the logic was Itadori would be exhausted from fighting Todo if it went down that path.
Yeah, he underestimates Itadori. Exhausted would kick that thing's ass.
I mean, yeah, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, but either way, that's his plan. He shows the kind of 1st grade, and then it shows over to the. Let's just call him Onigiri for now. They show over to Onigiri, and he sees the 1st grade come out, and then it just get instantly killed, and you're like, oh fuck. And then who comes out but the the Earth guy, the nature curse, who we've obviously seen before, but we haven't really seen him in action.
Yeah, no, we did see one thing. We saw him show up and save the volcano curse.
Yeah.
And even Gojo?
Yeah.
Wasn't able to react in time to stop him.
Yeah, he hid his curse energy. So he kind of showed up so fast and stuff like that he couldn't really do anything.
Yeah, and even then he suppressed their will to fight just long enough to get away, which is, I think, pretty insane when you consider who he was dealing with.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we know a little bit about these things. A lot of them, they're... Because they've mentioned how curses are born previously. And most of these big ones that we're getting in the story, the main villains, are basically curses built off the earth. So there's nature, like the spirit of like nature, spirit of the ocean, stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of like based off natural disasters and stuff. And obviously he is the earth guy. But yeah, obviously just seeing him, we already know that shit's about to go bad, which we kind of guessed last week anyways. We knew there was going to be some sort of tuning exams interruption.
Yeah, even just the guy before saying like, "Hey, they're having a big test. We can go mess some shit up." So,
yeah, and one of the questions we had is we said like, okay, yeah, but why would they do that? Because Satoru, like Gojo Satoru, is going to kick their ass. Like they don't stand a chance. Even they know that. Even with all of them fighting, it would still probably be a fight that they wouldn't want to take.
Yeah,
and we knew that. And then at least in this one, they show that they kind of have a plan for that. So as soon as that happens, shit starts to go a little bit south. Obviously, the fight gets interrupted by the Earth Curse, who comes in with his big ass roots and stuff like that, interrupts the fight.
Yeah,
we get to see the blacksmith.
Yeah, we've never seen him before this, and he just shows up.
So yeah, he's a Jujutsu sorcerer technically. He's a curse user. He's not a curse like the rest of them.
Yeah,
he comes in, he makes a barrier, and then we kind of see that Satoru, the lady, the teacher in charge of like the Tokyo school.
Yeah.
Or whatever, she kind of comes in, and then the principal. They all kind of show up, and they see this going up, and Gojo can't get into it, and then he specifically says, "Oh, they made this with one purpose, which is to keep me out."
Yeah, it's specific to either keeping him out or keeping him in.
Yeah, so basically they sacrificed all the normal power of it just to kind of pinpoint it on one thing. So he can't get in. So he's like, "Yeah, you guys go take care of this. I'll figure something out." Yeah. So instead, we get to see the principal and the lady teacher go in, and they run into the blacksmith immediately, and then we get that shocking twist. The principal, the principal goes to fight him. Okay, and the principal has like the traditional Japanese garment on, very professional, and then he just it just like goes to the next scene, and he's got it down. He's got the fucking metal shirt on with the guitar, and you're like, what the fuck?
See, I knew someone was good to use music just based on the opening,
for sure. But did you expect the principal?
No.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise.
I was expecting the female teacher.
Yeah. How dare they make him cool when we're supposed to dislike him because he's trying to kill Itadori? But how can I dislike him now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's just supposed to be old school, right? So he's just anti-Vessel.
Yeah, old school while he pulls out an electric guitar.
I don't know. Maybe he only plays 80s power ballads.
I guess you can always try to look at it from someone's perspective of like, yeah, obviously we know that Itadori has like a good control over Sukuna for the most part, and obviously we know that
other than the whole pack team.
Yeah, he kind of fucked up with the pack thing. But in general, we know that he has a pretty good hold over him because we're seeing it from his perspective most of the time. But from an outsider's perspective, highly dangerous. So I guess we can try and sympathize with the principal, even though he's trying to kill the main character. But yeah, it's really hard for me to hate him now when he pulls out, he's got the T-shirt on with the electric guitar. I'm excited for that fight next episode, so that's kind of where we leave it.
I also got a very Hunter x Hunter, like Fire Force vibe from this twist.
Well, okay, so we've mentioned this before. Obviously, the show has it takes a lot of things from other shonen anime, but kind of does them in a different way. He's very much like the captain of, I can't remember if it's the first or if it's the 12th from Bleach. The old man. Yeah. He's got the same beard. And even that guy back in the day, it was a surprise. He pulls down the shirt and he's just fucking shredded. He's just shredded to the gills. Like he's absolutely jacked. And that was like the surprise. I'm like, ooh, old man jacked. That's funny. But this one's just different. I was like, okay, he's going to pull out a shirt. He's going to be jacked. And he's not even jacked. He just pulls the shirt. He's got the T-shirt on. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It was really good. I'm sure there's going to be tons of memes about that.
I mean, oh yeah. I'm expecting them like within the week.
Yeah, but that's obvious. That's where we like leave off of that episode. We didn't get to see much. We see a little bit more of Megumi. I can't remember his name again. Kano, Yato, something like that.
Yeah.
And then obviously Onigiri is there too, and they're kind of trying to fight / avoid being absolutely murdered.
Yeah, they're just getting completely overpowered. They can't do anything.
It does show that Onigiri's power just worked on the curse for like a couple seconds. Like he says like don't move or something like that, and he's actually like stuck there. And obviously, I just want to see Itadori. I've mentioned this last episode, but I want to see Itadori and Toto's fight, and then I want to see it be interrupted by someone, and then I want to see them team and just kick someone's ass. Is that too much to ask for?
The big question is who's going to interrupt them.
I would guess probably Mahito, maybe.
You think he'd go after his natural counter this fight?
He seems kind of mad. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he's that stupid though.
Unless we haven't seen them with other. All we've seen we've seen the two. We've seen Mahito and I don't remember his name, but the other sorcerer who's the main villain. I think we've seen the Earth Curse and we've seen the blacksmith. We haven't seen anyone else. We didn't see like the volcano guy. We didn't see the little ocean cute spirit thing.
Yeah,
we didn't see anyone else with them so far.
I don't think they would bust out the ocean spirit just because it seems like it's out of its element in this.
And I don't think they're gonna. I don't think anyone's gonna fight the main guy, like the main villainy guy.
Yeah, so like maybe the volcano shows up and Itadori just wrecks him.
Yeah, because we've already seen him, so we don't really need him to be in the show any longer. I don't think once again that I don't even know if Mahito's gonna fight again because that was such a last arc kind of thing.
Yeah,
you don't want to have 2 arcs in a row revolving around fighting the same guy, but someone has to interrupt them, and
it could even just be the dropping of the domain. Does it?
I guess, but I mean, even then, what are they going to do? Just charge in and like unless they all have to fight the Earth guy, but it just seems so unlikely.
I mean, if again, I'm just going off an opening here. Like it does show everyone like going after the Earth guy in the opening, so I think they're going to have some role in that.
I mean, yeah, he is obviously. We've already seen how a special grade can fuck shit up.
Yeah, because I mean, Megumi and I want to call him Kato. I know that's not his name. Like they aren't even able to damage this dude.
Yeah, they tried like a couple. I mean, they got like hits on him, but it did nothing. It just bounced right off his skin.
Yeah. So
all of them fighting, but yeah, obviously Toto is a little bit stronger than most of the people we've seen. I think they only mentioned before that they didn't say he beat a special grade, did they?
No, he did.
Okay, it was the special grade, and we're gonna see him fight because we're gonna see him use his power more, the clapping teleporting thing. So him and Itadori team fighting that thing would be kind of dope. I'd be down for that.
That would be a really cinematic fight. I want to see it.
Exactly, like really, really hardcore fisticuffs, and that like instead of just Itadori trying to perfect his skill on the guy who just told him how, trying to perfect it in the fight that he's having, teamwork, it would be way cooler. But then it just seems like Megumi, the other guy, there's going to be kind of on like the back lines, unless like they're going to go try and help one of the other characters.
Yeah, because they did establish what was the blue haired girl's name? Mika.
Which one? The one with the sword?
Yeah.
I don't remember. She's not. we discussed before. We're not the best at names. She's not main character enough yet to remember.
Yeah, true. They established that she's fallen asleep as a result of cursed speech combined with like getting a hold of Mekamaru's phone.
Yeah. Which when that first happened, I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just that dude. Oh, he just boned her." How did he get Mekamaru's phone?
They showed him with his arms. I'm guessing it was like built in for communication.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, obviously. So the teacher went in specifically to go get her originally.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a thing. I'm just excited for the next episode to see the principal fight the blacksmith guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because the show's actually had a pretty good soundtrack so far. So I wonder if they're going to apply that in this context.
I mean, probably. He's a music, either that or it's just going to be fucking like terrible music. Like
just like horrible like high school band.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to be good. It's just his power, but he's not good at it though. Either way, that's going to be exciting. That's going to be the big fight for next time. I feel like every single episode we get the honestly, this episode was the one that I was the least excited for when it came to like just matchup. I didn't really care about the Megumi matchup with the Kano, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
In comparison to like Panda versus Robot and like Metal Principal versus Blacksmith, like in comparison to all like the fight ups we've kind of
just the taglines alone.
Yeah, even like we had like Itadori versus Toto, which we were obviously super pumped for. Even like Nail Girl versus Witch, I was more excited for than Megumi versus like it's just two kind of prissy boys fighting each other.
Yeah, like we did get to see that the one guy's fighting specifically because he wants to earn respect, so his mother will have some respect.
Yeah, obviously we need to give a little bit of good character to even some of the characters we're not supposed to like.
Yeah. Like I think the show does Jujutsu does a really good job balancing out the villains in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like unless they are meant to just be pure evil, they do a good job humanizing them enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a good job humanizing them enough that you feel like, okay, I can get behind this. I can understand
these characters are still, even though they're like some of them are actively trying to kill Itadori in a sense, they're just other school, right? They're just other teenagers or something that, they're not actual villains. They're kind of just villains of this arc. But now that they've introduced the bigger villains, now they have to
going to work together. And
yeah, exactly. It literally reminds me of like Bleach back in the day. Obviously, when in the first or the second season of Bleach, where they invade the Soul Society, all the captains are villains. Yeah, because they're trying to stop the protagonist's plan. But as the show goes on, obviously we learn so much about them. None of them are villains. It just depends on the arc.
Yeah, it depends on the circumstance. That's all it is.
Well, there are characters like Aizen, though, who will always just be the villain. But I think even then, eventually, he's not. So,
I mean,
when you go for long enough, you have to kind of change everything up constantly.
The trope in Shonen is that the villain always becomes a friend at some point.
What's the line from the Batman movie? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. You either die a villain or live long enough to see yourself become a hero. That's the anime version of it.
Much, yeah. I think it was Rambo, not Batman.
No, it was Harvey Dent.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Harvey Dent said it in The Dark Knight.
Oh no, there's a.
I just like to
different
reverse
life
it. Yeah, in anime, it's that you either die a villain or live long enough to see yourself become a hero. Boom,
Yeah.
done. I'm sure someone's made a meme of that out there somewhere. But yeah, that's it for Jujutsu Kaisen. Obviously excited for next week when we get to see Metal Grandpa fight the blacksmith.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. I'm still just trying to figure out how they come up with the taglines for these fights sometimes.
I don't know. I'm also I want to see what Gojo's going to do. Obviously very powerful. Once he enters the fray, I think the arc's kind of going to be over for this part.
I feel like he's just going to punch through it.
Maybe. I mean,
he's going to take some time, charge up some power, and just blast a hole in the damn thing.
That or he's going to...
Or someone's going to pull the nail that made the barrier.
Yeah, that or he's just going to have like an outside plan, like he's doing something else. Maybe he realizes that, while this is going on, their actual motive is somewhere else. Because we know that they're going after the school specifically.
Yeah, they're going after the fingers. So
maybe he realized that. He's like, I'm just going to go to that place. And so they're going to get there and be like, we've distracted them. He's just going to be like, sup, boys?
Yeah, you probably should have locked me in the dome instead of locking me out of it.
Imagine if at the same time as everything going on in the dome, the two, so Mahito and the other like big bad show up to grab the fingers, and you just see Gojo like sitting at a desk being like, sup? And then you get a fight between the three of them. That'd be good.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull some twist too, where he's just like, by the way, I already fed Itadori all the fingers. So.
Yeah, he got them in right before this arc started when we didn't see him. He's like, I already stole all those things.
They were like in the cooler with Itadori at the start, and you just like munched on them.
Nomming on them, yeah. Either way, excited for next week. As I said, we don't know necessarily if we have tons of people here to watch and discuss Jujutsu Kaisen, because a lot of our viewership comes from stuff like subreddits, and we're banished. But if you're here watching Jujutsu Kaisen, just let us know down below. It's nice to know anyways, just to know what people are watching, and tell us how you found us. If you did find us from the subreddit, that's good knowledge. Just so maybe one day we can go back to them and be like, hey, listen, we need to do this. We need to post this on here.
Like, hey, we have enough viewers. We're partners now. Just let us in.
One day when we get bigger, we're going back to the Jujutsu Kaisen subreddit and be like, let us in. I demand it.
Jujutsu isn't even airing this season, but let us in.
Let us in. But yeah, that's it. So any comments, thoughts, anything like that about the episode, of course, leave it down below.
Yeah.
Next up on the list is Horimiya, episode number 6.
This summer is going to be a hot one.
Okay. A lot happens in this episode. The biggest thing I want to talk about right away, character change in anime. How often do you get a look change?
But once a season.
Okay. I was kind of sad, though. I'm not going to lie. Listen.
You missed the long hair?
Yeah, Miyamura was kind of best boy with the long hair and like the, because he had like the man bun top knot look at one point, like sometimes while he's putting his hair up.
He was good with his hairstyling.
He didn't do that enough. Same with the lip to ear piercing. We saw that in like one episode. We saw like the long hair ponytail, and I think the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
never happened again.
I think even in the manga, it only came up a couple times.
I guess, but I mean, like, it's kind of sad that I really liked his look. Obviously, now he's much more, I don't know, palatable for everyone in his school, especially.
He's got more of the pretty boy look to him as opposed to that acquired taste.
Like every single other episode, this episode has about 3 separate different arcs going on at one time. Yeah, that's kind of just how the show's stylized. The first arc is I don't, what do you call it? The first arc is he stays over, right?
Yeah, he's chilling at Hori's.
They're watching a movie. He's chilling. He's about to go home, and the father's like, "Hey, why don't you just stay the night? You can sleep with me." So he stays over. Obviously, seems like a good time. Then the next morning, they leave the house together. Some students see them, and they're like, "Whoa, he stayed the night there." And then the school rumor starts that Hori is dating Miyamura, and people are not the nicest.
Yeah, I mean, Hori's really good about it. She just owns it. She's like, no, I don't care. Like, I'm dating him. If you don't like
Hori's very popular, right? So all the rumors going around, like, and they have to hear it all too. That's like, why is Hori dating that guy? He's like so lame. Yeah, like, she should date me instead. I'm better than him.
It's very high school in the sense of like you're talking shit behind someone's back, but they're within earshot. So
yeah, and I do like that it shows the friends getting like pissed off. Especially like Toru, he's getting fucking mad. He's like, and they're saying it right in front of earshot too. He's like, they're saying in the class, how could they not hear? And he's getting all pissed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, like, the only downside in this is that I feel like there's not enough repercussion to Miyamura. And this sounds weird to say, but he kind of caves. So what happens is he feels bad in a sense for probably he in his mind he's probably like, I feel bad for Hori for having to take this abuse, people thinking that she's not cool because she's dating me and stuff like that. So he goes out, he comes back to school with like the haircut, more handsome, more palatable to all the other people. And like, I thought there was going to be repercussions to that. I thought it was going to be like Hori was kind of upset about that or like didn't like it as much or something like that. But it just kind of breezed over. It was fine. But like, to me, that's the changing yourself kind of thing. Like, you're changing yourself just to fit in better in like a sense. And normally that's like a negative in like shows.
Normally, yeah. I think the big difference here is it wasn't that he changed who he actually was. It was just that he kind of showed who he was outside of school a little bit more.
I guess, yeah. I thought there was gonna be more about like horror. Okay, we did obviously see Hori being jealous, but that was like more like a joke thing. Originally, I thought that was gonna be more of like a plot. Her being like upset now that since like he's cooler now, people like him more. And this it literally shows girls like taking his pictures in class and stuff like that.
It goes to the other extreme from what it was before. I think the big thing is that the show something like this, or the series tends to do more of a long haul approach to it. So the changes in Miyamura and the jealousy arcs are going to come up more as time goes on.
Okay. Yeah, obviously when he first comes in changed, a lot of the girls, they're going to talk to him, and even Toru's like, it's just like, it's the new thing of the week, right? It's the fad. It's not that it's not like he's forever going to be like the hottest dude in class now. They're going to constantly be up at him. But while it's like brand new, because he went from this like, nerdy otaku like character to this like
he had a major glow up is what
yeah, exactly. So all the ladies are obsessed. And then it kind of goes into like the second arc from there, which is like this first year, second year. The girl.
She's 1 year lower, so I think second year.
Okay, so she's obviously like stalking Miyamura to a sense, and the obvious thought is that she's got a crush on him either now that he's changed or maybe even before, and now maybe she's jealous that all the other women like him too. But then relatively quickly you get the revelation that she does not actually have a crush on him. She has a crush on Hori. So she's like, "Why are you dating this guy? He's a loser." And it's like funny because like the fight in the hallway, obviously they're both like. Miyamura is being like really upset. I don't know how to say it.
Possessive?
Yeah, he's being really possessive in like a sense. He's like, no, she's mine kind of thing. And it's just kind of funny. Toru calls over the other friend and he's like, yo, come check this out.
Yeah, Nishikawa, come watch this. This is hilarious.
This is good. And she comes over and he's like, it's pretty much done now. She's like, I don't know. This seems like it's still kind of going to me. And then, you get like a little bit. She has more interactions with Miyamura in the episode than she has with Hori. She just keeps kind of wanting him gone. She's like waiting after school for Hori, and he's like, "Go away."
Yeah.
And then they both they're like, "Okay, fine, we'll just go home." And then they discover that they live like right beside each other.
Yeah, like I feel like you would have noticed this at some points living there, but
I mean probably, but I guess like Miyamura might just not be the guy who pays attention to people that like live near him.
Yeah, true.
We've never even seen his home at this point. In this episode, we see both his house and his mother for the first time. But yeah, he goes home. He finds out that she lives right beside him. But she forgot her key or left it inside. So he feels bad. He invites her to the house. They share a cake because his parents own a bakery. And then I don't know. She kind of like drops a bomb at one point. She's like, oh yeah, I had a brother who was a year older than me, but he's dead and stuff. And then she's like, just kidding. And then Miyamura asks his mom later, and his mom's like, no, yeah, they did have a brother. Really sad. He was a really good kid. Dead. He would have been like, I think he was their age basically.
Yeah, he would have been the same age as
but he went to like a different school or something like that. So Miyamura feels a little bit bad, and then like the next scene shows some guy trying to hit on her, and then Miyamura gives him the death glance, and they fuck right off before he headbutts them.
Yeah, like that's one of the advantages to the new haircut. He can kind of pull off the intimidating thing a little more.
That's true, but even though I would be more intimidated by the guy with the long hair and the sick piercings and stuff, I guess he wouldn't have been having them there.
Yeah,
anyways,
he would have had like the dorky like just long shag going. Yeah. So
I do like at one point in the background in this when Miyamura's taking a bath with the dad, you hear like the background conversation. He's like, "No, I'm not in the Yakuza, I swear," because of the tattoos.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little arc there. So obviously we're gonna get a little bit more of this character. She's got a crush on Hori, but she's gonna obviously it's leaning towards. They kind of show the brother at one point, and he does look a little bit like Miyamura. Yeah. So. It's leaning towards he's going to be like a brother-like character for her since her older brother is all sorts of gone. Obviously, you know what happens, but
I mean, it's been a while since I read this part. So,
and is there another arc? Is there something I'm forgetting? Because that's like 2, unless you kind of count that as like 3.
There's the arc towards the. I can't remember if this was actually before you stayed over, but there was the arc where they're chatting. She's kind of upset he isn't making moves on her.
Oh yeah, okay, that was earlier on, yeah.
I couldn't remember if that was before he stayed over or if that was after. So.
That's when they're watching the horror movie about the dad being killed by the daughter, and then the dad like leaves after, and then he comes back, interrupts it, and then she like grabs the chair and she's like, "Let's reenact that movie."
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, that's good to see in anime. Okay, to be fair, in this episode, you get something that like anime doesn't do very often. The fucking part where the friend comes over and shares the candy.
Yeah,
and then she's got like first of all, worst candy in the world. He's like, "Oh, what flavor?" She's like, "Clay." Like, who the fuck wants a clay flavored candy? What's wrong with you guys?
There's clay flavored. There's freaking cheese flavored.
Okay, but yeah, I understand cheese flavor is weird because you're mixing savory and sweet, but at least that's acceptable. There are like cheesecake, for instance, it might have just been like a cheesecake flavored.
The image looked like it was just a chunk of cheese.
I guess so, but even so, that would make more sense than a clay flavored one.
I mean, you're not wrong.
They're not eating fucking every flavored beans from Harry Potter, right? Like,
I think that was kind of the gimmick with this, is that it was like a bunch of really weird ass flavors.
maybe because his girlfriend took all the good flavors. That's what they mentioned. But she's eating the clay flavored one, and then he goes over and he kisses her. And then in the next scene, she's like, he took my candy, basically. And then it shows him, and he's like, it does taste like clay. Which I was like, oh, fuck. I guess, sure, anime. Wow. Normally, anime doesn't do anything like that.
I mean, again, this is a series that's very liberal in how it progresses the relationship. It actually feels like something you might see in a natural relationship.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. So I was basically Miyamura when I was young, Cam. When I was 16 for the first time, and I ended up
the first time.
Yeah, I don't age. No, when I was 16, and I think that I meant for the first time, I ended up like making it with a girlfriend,
Okay.
and I stole their gum. I then thought I was the fucking coolest shit in the world. I literally I was talking to my friend later at Timmy's. My friend Ryan worked at like the Tim Hortons later, and I met him and was like, yeah, check it out. And I was like chewing gum. He's like, what? And I was like, this was actually her gum. And he's like, and I was like, I took it. And I thought I was just like the coolest shit in the world. Gotta remember, I was either I would have been 15 at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, just like this. It was very much reminiscent of that in this scene.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't show like Miyamura thinking he's a badass or anything like that, but I thought I was a badass at the time.
Yeah. I mean, Miyamura is more just kind of an idiot when it comes to these things. So he just kind of did without thinking.
I want to see more Miyamura headbutts. I was really hoping he was going to headbutt some of the classmates in this, and then he was going to headbutt those guys who were hitting on the little girl. Unfortunately, no headbutts this episode. Hopefully in the next one, though. We can only pray. I still want more side story. We've seen a lot of Toru. I'm a big Toru fan. Him and the relationship with the green-haired girl, Sakura, whatever her name is.
Okay, yeah.
I'm excited for that. I think that, what's her name?
Ishikawa, the blonde one.
Yeah, she needs some extra side story too.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that last week, is that hopefully she's going to get something soon.
Yeah, they finally gave a name to Shu, the green-haired boy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, is it, oh yeah, I asked this last week and you can't answer. Okay, no more questions about who's going to date who. Yeah, and then obviously...
I can give you an answer. You're not going to like them.
There's still the pink-haired girl is dating. She is dating
Sengoku.
Okay, yeah, because in the one episode, me and my wife were watching this, and it's the one where she's talking to like the green hair chick, and she's just, oh no, she's talking to Hori, and she's like, oh, maybe I should try and date Miyamura, and we're like, wait, is she not dating the president guy?
She just kind of like screwing with people.
Yeah, I understand that some people probably like her, but I think someone should headbutt her out of a building. I'd like an episode where
I will fully admit I do not like her.
I would like an episode where Miyamura headbutts her and she smashes through the window and falls out of the building. She annoys the fuck out of me.
I mean, I think the show would kind of change with the criminal charges from that.
I don't care. It's fine. Everyone already thinks everyone will think he's a delinquent anyways when he reveals his tattoos. So might as well just start headbutting people out of the window.
He's done a pretty good job keeping the tattoos hidden. So
yeah, I guess even in this one, they start when all the girls are crowding him. They're like, oh, like why'd you cut your hair? And he's like, oh, it's so hot. And then they're like, but why are you wearing winter clothes? He's like, I get cold. It's like, wait, which one, you dumbass? But yeah,
hot head, cold body.
Entertaining episode. Obviously, lots happened. More progression with their relationship, which is a big part. And then we get to see this new character and a little bit of a brother-sister bond happening, maybe because
yeah, she's definitely projecting that onto Miyamura. So
well, we already seen Miyamura is like an only child. And he's talked about it a couple times, and so this is his chance to get a little sister, even though his little sister wants to bang his girlfriend. Oh well.
I think that's a different genre.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's anime, so who knows what's gonna happen. But yeah, that's about it for Horimiya. So if you have any thoughts, theories, anything like that, leave a comment down below. Of course, we'll be talking about that sometime within the next few weeks, I'm sure. It just depends on which arc is more important between that and quintessential quintuplets. So keep an eye out. Next up on the list, Mushoku Tensei, episode number 6.
A Day Off in Roa.
One thing I've really come to like about this show is like the no opening. It's very like cinematic. It's like a movie. They actually skip the opening, and then the opening credit kind of just plays with music over top of whatever's happening.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like the beginning of like a Pokemon movie to me. That's the vibe I get.
Okay.
I don't know how I can explain it.
I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with the comparison. I get what you're saying.
In the Pokemon movies, it always like what they did is instead of actually having like a Pokemon opening, it would show like, Ash would start battling this dude. And then like the music would start playing, but instead of like having an opening play, it'd just be showing what they're doing in the background, but it'd be like more cinematic. It reminds me of a sense of this, like something's happening, and they just instead of you like taking you to the episode by rolling an intro, it just like the Mushoku Tensei like logo slowly appears while like this like kind of hypey fantasy music is playing.
Yeah.
Someone also mentioned this in the comments last week, but the background like the art style for the area is actually really really cool.
It is actually really well detailed.
It's so much more. It's so much farther away from like anime fantasy in comparison to more just like standard fantasy. Like the castle designs, they show a lot more in this when they go into the towns and stuff like that. It actually reminded me like a lot of like starting town areas from games like Final Fantasy and stuff. Which if you actually start to pay attention and look in the background, you see a lot of cool shit. It's like not as bright and vibrant as anime normally does it. Yeah. It's a lot more neutral colors like browns and grays, but it actually just like looks really really good. It stands out because it doesn't stand out as in like anime is normally just about how many vibrant ass colors you can fit in each scene and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it stands out in a good way. Someone mentioned that in the comments last week, and I actively looked this week, and it did look really nice. Yeah,
it's a lot of little details that it's very easy to miss. So.
Yeah. Obviously, this episode, we start off from where the last one left off, and he is now tutoring Eris. Yep. So he's supposed to tutor her in reading, writing, math, magic, all that kind of shit. Some of it going better than others.
Yeah, he's also teaching, what's her name?
Ghislaine.
What?
Ghislaine,
okay. Yeah, he's also teaching her reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yep. Which he uses to his advantage at one point. Obviously, Eris is kind of a brat. She likes learning the magic. We do get to see him interaction with the grandpa. So the grandpa character is shown off, who is where Eris gets a lot of her inspiration from.
Yeah.
Though him in a much better sense. He's loud, he's powerful, he's demanding, but at the same time,
he has the authority to back it up.
And he's more understanding too. Like even when Rudy explains some of his like thoughts, I'm being like, he's like, oh, teach her magic. She keeps asking about it. He's like, I want her to like ask it like herself. That proves that she wants it. And he's like, good point. Yes. So then he calls her up, and then she tries to be like, no, but you said you'd say it. She's like, no, you have to. And then she like turns to the side and does it. He's like, that's not the way you ask. And then she does the stupid ass, cat ears thing, the meow, and then the dad and the grandpa are both proud. They're like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, they establish like they're very fond of beast people. It's like I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and then he's like, what kind of fucking greeting is that or whatever like that? It's funny. But yeah, I don't know. That obviously shows where she gets some of her character from, but she doesn't have the same the same history and that kind of stuff to back it up. And he seems to be accepting more of I don't know what's right and what's wrong versus just having the power to.
He's willing to temper his opinion and his actions based on the circumstances. She isn't.
Yeah, exactly. So in this, we do see that he's having a lot of issues teaching her everything except for magic, basically because it's kind of boring to her. Yeah. So he uses Ghislaine in a sense to magnify her want to learn by explaining how in these cool adventuring stories, how certain things like math would have actually helped a lot. Going into a lot of detail, being like, I lost all my money because I didn't understand math. I had to eat fucking monster shit, and that made me have like diarrhea and stuff. And
that just like inspired her. It's like, I got to learn this shit. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So and then she just kind of starts studying a little bit. It's all going well until she just snaps one day, and he's like, oh, you know what? I realized that she probably needs a day off.
Yeah.
So they go on a little bit of a trip into town. That's where we get to see Roa, a little bit more of a shopping district. As I said, the really nice background sets and stuff like that.
Yeah, a little bit more of a world building episode as opposed to character building. So
yeah, Rudy is he's learning the value of certain coin, which is something we talked about last episode. Yeah. So he's figuring out how much an apple costs is a good way to kind of figure it out. So he figured out an apple is 1 silver coin, that kind of thing. He's getting the price of all these items. He's writing them down. Yeah. Which is good little world building. Obviously, he uses at one point he's obsessed with the guy who's selling the aphrodisiac thing.
Yeah, which I do want to like ask a question. So this dude just got this super rare item in, apparently. His first thought is like, that's a 10-year-old boy. I'm going to sell it to him.
He's not even 10. He's only like 7 at this point.
Yeah, true. Prepubescent boy, it's like, hey, you want an aphrodisiac kid? It's like,
yeah, that guy needs to be arrested.
Like even the description is like, oh yeah, you can go like 4 times without even pulling out. It's like, what the?
Like, sir, I am 7. Yeah, I don't know about that guy. That guy needs to be questioned. I think Rudy should have been like going to the guards. But yeah, obviously, even though Rudy's like thinks it's cool, or whatever, he doesn't actually care about buying it. He's just getting the price of it. He kind of explains to Eris why he's getting these prices, how it helps with that kind of stuff, and she kind of gets a little bit more. Then they go to like this, the book area, either the library or the bookstore.
Yeah, and they establish that it's like ridiculously expensive to get any type of book.
Yeah, it's like 7. I think for one of the books, it's like 7 gold coins or something like that, and. He's like, oh, fuck, how did my mom afford to buy me this?
Yeah, I think the line he used specifically was like, what did she have to do to afford this?
Yeah, and then Eris is like, oh, I'll buy you a book if you want one. He's like, no. He kind of like teaches her the importance of money and like value. He's like, this isn't your money. You haven't earned it. He's like, thanks for like the thought kind of thing. He's like, I appreciate like the thought, but like, you should do things like with your own money. And that's what he's like, when we get back, we'll talk to, your dad about giving you an allowance kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I mean, still technically isn't using your own money. It's not much different.
Know, but like, the idea of an allowance is at least teaching her the value and that you have to kind of put some time in.
Yeah, I mean, most times when you're children, you get an allowance based off doing like your chores and stuff like that. It's the earliest we kind of learn about working to earn your money, I suppose. So it is important. And then in the next scene, she used the allowance to buy him something, which is very nice. A nice little gift.
Yeah, which I do have to ask, like, how much the allowance was if she got this much.
Yeah, because he was complaining about the price of the book, which was 7 gold coins, and the aphrodisiac was 10.
Yeah.
So big allowance, because we don't know how much time went by between that scene and the other one.
Yeah, because like if this is like next week, I think that allowance is a little high.
Yeah, I mean, once again, she's like royal in a sense, so maybe not, but
I mean, I guess.
But yeah, they buy him the aphrodisiac. They immediately break it, and then they start questioning him as to what it does.
Yeah, because I guess they didn't even ask what it was. It's like, hey, do you remember that potion in that weird bottle? It's like, yeah.
It's like, hey, my friend was looking at this. Can we pick that up? And he's like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, which I mean,
he's like, oh, was your friend the 7-year-old? And they're like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, give it to him.
I mean, the only thing I will say about that guy is at least he said it's like, you make a good gift for your dad.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And you know what? That would make a good gift for Paul.
I mean, kind of.
He's not wrong.
I mean, take that. I think you're impudent here.
We also do get to see a little bit of Rudy's otaku side from his previous life come out in this, when he's using wax and his magic to make figures of people he knows.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing that in the past too, so this is just a continuation of that.
Yeah, he's using he makes one of his teacher. He makes one of what the hell's her name? Sylviette.
Yeah.
And he makes a few others. I didn't know if I saw who they were. There's got to be one of like Ghislaine, right? She's fine figure material.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, and I think there was one of his mom and I think one of the maid. And
I'm still weirded out by how not obsessed with Ghislaine Rudy is.
I think it's more the fact that he might be a little scared of her.
I mean, maybe, but we've seen him be obsessed with, women. Even in this, I think when Eris's mom comes in, he's giving her a little bit of a lustful look.
Yeah. I mean, I think that maybe he's just not into beast people.
I mean, maybe, because I mean, like, he's looking at the chest of Eris's mom when she comes in. But if you're looking at chests alone and there's fucking Ghislaine in front of you, she literally has a strap on each side covering.
I mean, maybe it's one of those things like what you can't see is more enticing than what you can.
I mean, maybe it's just the show's trying to establish what is not his type very subtly instead of him just coming out and saying it. But yeah, I mean, that's all. Obviously, I think he's gonna be pretty happy when he starts meeting all the elves.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of it was just kind of like character development. We get to see a little bit of growth from Eris, not tons, but like she's still kind of a brat. But at least she's kind of learning now a little bit. We also see swordplay between her and Rudy. Where she is, better than Rudy at this point, but Ghislaine does point out, like, hey, you're a couple years older than him.
You've been studying longer.
You've been studying for longer. But as the show goes on, we haven't seen that point yet where Rudy is just good at swordplay. So it's possible we won't get that classic isekai main character is good at everything. It's possible that while he'll be competent in swordplay, it'll never be his forte. Like magic is obviously his thing.
Yeah, he might end up going down the role of like a spell blade or something like that, and just
even in this, she mentions Eris mentions that he keeps like fleeing and that kind of stuff, and then Ghislaine's like, oh, that's kind of like how it works, like when because he will use his magic and stuff like that.
Yeah, as a mage, he's better that way.
Yeah, they kind of hint at that. He tries to keep his distance more, but at the same time, she's giving him tips about he's his like legs get like shaky whenever someone comes in for an attack kind of thing, and she's like, I can't teach you how to fix that. She's like, you got to work on it yourself. He's like, okay, I will.
Yeah.
So that's something I don't know. We didn't get a huge time jump in this episode. It was probably a couple of months max, couple of weeks.
Yeah, if anything, it was probably a month, maybe 2 months.
Yeah, so I think in the next episode we're gonna get a slightly bigger one. Not like 5 years yet, but another 6 months or another year maybe. Seeing both how he progresses, how Eris progresses. There's a pretty good chance that when he ends up going to the magic school, Eris is gonna be there as well.
Yeah, if she doesn't go ahead, that is.
Yeah, if she doesn't go ahead, either way she's a couple years older than him. Or we don't know how like the school system works, especially the magic schools. We don't know if it's like age. Like it's probably not like our schools where every person in the same grade is about the same age.
Yeah, there's a good chance it's skill based, so he could probably already go if he wanted to.
Yeah, it's just the lack of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a good chance she goes at the same time because then he gets his group of harem characters. He has Sylviette, he'll have Eris. Eventually, he'll have his two sisters because it's anime.
God damn it.
But I don't know. The episode's just like they're so relaxing. Like if you compare to the last episode of this episode, obviously last episode, a lot more action, a lot more visually stunning stuff, like with Ghislaine's attack and Rudy fighting them with magic and stuff.
Oh yeah, this was definitely more of a come down, let's establish the world a little bit more episode as opposed to conflict. So.
Yeah, which is good. I like even this. You get some subtle things about like the world building, even their family. You know, like how the mom doesn't like Rudy when she first meets him.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we can probably guess why she doesn't like Rudy. I have a feeling she has a past with Paul, as every female
Probably.
character seems to have a past with Paul.
Yeah.
We're gonna get something about obviously like Paul and his cousin were close, but like Paul actually like he slept with his wife before he did, kind of situation, and you're gonna get some character development like that for sure.
Yeah, and we also get a little bit about the Grey Rat bloodline, establishing that there's a lot of value to it.
Yeah, and they specifically don't want to mention that Rudy was the one who saved Eris. They want to just give it to Ghislaine for multiple facts, including the fact that they don't want people to know about Rudy very much. Probably a lot to do with still either just like the subcategories of their family or something to do with Paul. There's a chance Paul at some point fucked up a little bit on their side of the family. And
there might be a reason he lives off in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, he might be slightly frowned upon, or just like other things like you see in a lot of other anime. There's just subcategories of each family, some being more notable than others.
Yeah, I mean, it could even just be the fact that having someone that talented at that young of age might not be something they want to get out.
It's true, yeah.
Like, we don't know how prodigies are viewed in this world, so...
Yeah, we assume probably good, but once again, it's a prodigy that isn't from, like, the main family might be an issue to some of the higher up, like, the elders of the family.
Yeah, especially if you have someone from the main family being taught by what's considered a lesser student.
Yeah, they obviously want someone from the... Like, there's going to be the, like, family elders who want someone like Eris, who's, like, of the more true line to be the one that's, like, the best, and having this one who's from, like, a shittier line, especially, like, Paul, who... I assume if there's elders in this family, they don't like Paul. Having like his son be like the best one in the family, something they don't like. So they're trying to keep it on the down low. Obviously, it's going to come out eventually when he goes to shit like the Magic Academy. And he's
but once he's a little older, it's a little easier to explain away.
Yeah,
I think the biggest problem is probably going to be the unencanted spells he's using.
That's true.
So
there is one thing in this episode that I have to mention.
The creepy ass moment.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So, but here's the thing, though. It didn't come off as that creepy.
What?
I don't know how I can explain this. Okay. So the thing is, I've mentioned this before that obviously there's this thing about being like reincarnated in a body when you're like an older man, and most of the time so far he's only had he's only really had interest in older women.
I mean, yeah,
which made it not as weird. But for some reason,
are you going to argue that infantile regression is going to justify what he did this episode?
No, I'm not even going to argue that what he did wasn't creepy. It's just as a viewer, I don't think it actually came off as that creepy because he didn't even seem like that interested in a sense. Even like while he was like feeling her chest, he was more just like joking about like her cup size and what she could become. He seems more sexually interested in people that are older.
I mean, yeah, but there's still that fact that at the start he was watching some very questionable material that pertained to this situation.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's why like he could be way creepier. Like you would think at this point he would actually actively be trying to like seduce her, or like trying to do something sexual with her, but he doesn't actually.
I think the big problem with that is that he's 7 and he doesn't have the equipment for that.
Well, I mean, we don't know for sure. We don't know. For all we know, he's ready to go. But I don't know. It's just like it's not that what he did wasn't creepy. It's just that for some reason, his I don't know if it's just because like his character is now we've seen a decent amount of his growth growing up. But like I would have expected it I could have guessed that was going to happen like episodes ago. But I expected it to come off creepier than it did. I think a lot of it they did a good job mainly focusing his sexual attractions on older women. Because this is one of those questions. Obviously, it's not real, so we don't have to question it too much. But let's say in a realistic situation where someone did get reincarnated as another body, it's like, what are their options when it comes to that world? It's either that he's going to always have to be dating and sexual with people that are 20 years older than him, so in his mind it makes it right, or he just has to accept that he is now this younger person and he has to live like such. Obviously, no one wants to talk about it because it's kind of weird. But if you looked at it in a realistic situation, it's like, what would he have to do? Like he at some point he's going to be 15, and in this world, for all they know, they want kids at 15 to start getting married, like kind of like medieval kind of settings.
Okay.
And it's like, is he going to be like, no, I will only be married to someone who's 30, and they need to be twice my age, so in my mind it's okay. When he has to live in this world where people expect him to do something else.
I mean, I get what you're saying. It doesn't change the fact that he's 7 and he tried to take her underwear off.
Yeah, but even if he did, though, I think he was just doing it for fun. He probably would have just stolen her underwear.
You say that in a way that makes it sound not fucked up.
Well, I mean, it could have been much more fucked up. But I feel like I get the intention that he was going to like take her underwear. It was going to be like, funny. And, she wakes up and like she just kind of like fucking knocks him out. And it's like a classic funny kind of situation. I feel like it could have been a lot weirder is what I'm saying. Like I would
I
have
mean,
guessed
it definitely could have been a lot worse.
I would have guessed in like the first episode with like seeing how his character was before he was reincarnated, that shit would have been a lot weirder. But since he's now grown up in his like 7 years, he's already a lot better of a person than he was then. He cares more about like actually like teaching her and getting money to go to school and like going back with like his friend Sylphia and stuff like that than he actually cares about just like sexually assaulting these women that he meets, right? Because he could get away with a lot more things than he does at like his age. And he doesn't try, which is the important part.
I mean, yeah. I feel like he has tried some things. He realized, like, okay, I don't know if I can get away with this shit, but
for the most part, though, he just kind of like looks, and you know, he obviously has this like sexual appetite from when he's older. But I don't know. They do it in a way where it's like I don't hate his character as much as I would have guessed I would have.
Okay.
That's the main sense I'm pulling from that scene. Is that to me it seemed, if I had to guess from his character, it was more like a joke kind of thing. Like, you know, since he didn't get to bring his holy relic with him kind of thing, he was just going to steal her underwear and like flee or something like that just for fun. He wasn't like pulling her underwear off to sexually assault her is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Which obviously you would not like that character anymore. We've already had discussions about like Paul's past, about like different translations and stuff, making him seem more like a criminal or less like a criminal.
Yeah, there's a lot of like it just a one word change can make a huge difference in how you view a
but
character.
But yes, if this main character 7-year-old was going to pull off this other like 9-year-old's underwear and then sexually assault her, I don't think anybody would watch this anime anymore.
Yeah, no, because this episode actually had a disclaimer at the front start of it, didn't it?
I don't think did it. If it did, I didn't see it, but
I thought it did. Maybe I'm thinking of Attack on Titan.
Either, yeah. Basically, all I'm saying is that like if they would have gone that route, the show would have been ruined. But to me, at least from what I get from his character so far, he was doing it more as like a joke or something for fun while she's sleeping.
I mean, it's still creepy. There's no denying
yeah. I mean, it's still creepy. But I'm just saying that it could have been creepier. They could have definitely could have went in like an even less tasteful way. Where I feel like in this way, when that scene was over, you kind of got over it. You're like, okay, yeah, like that scene was kind of weird, but like you're done with it. When if it was worse, you would have been hearing about this scene still from like all week after it came out. You'd be like, oh, what the fuck happened in this episode?
Yeah, because I mean, even in the episode, he's like, I had to do a lot of talking to get out of this one.
yeah. I mean, obviously, he took a few punches right there too. He just got KO'd. Yeah, he went for the face block, but secretly was right for the stomach. Yeah, but we've talked about it a couple times. Yeah, but I don't know. Mushoku Tensei just has like this like charm about it. A lot of it's in like the animation style. I find a lot of it in stuff like the setting and like the It feels like so much more of a realistic fantasy world than so many other isekais. Which once again, a lot of it's like the UI system and like a lot of these isekais where it's like a video game. This one doesn't feel like he went to a video game world. It just feels like he went to a fantasy world.
He doesn't have a drop down menu. He doesn't have skills displayed whenever something happens. He just goes with the rules of this world.
Yeah, he just realistically, and like to me, what it feels like is if you were a person who was like, let's say you, instead of being reincarnated, you were like a 20-year-old who got thrown into this world, you wouldn't succeed. I think it'd be too late for you to accept like what this world is, be able to learn magic and that kind of stuff actively. But since he's born there, he grew up learning this stuff as if he's actually a person in this world, so it's different.
He had that developmental period again where he could actually kind of draw all this in.
Yeah, it's not like if he was just dropped there at 20 years old, like a Subaru kind of situation gets in there. I don't think he'd just be able to adapt and learn this magic because it comes from somewhere inside. It's not just like he goes to his fucking drop down menu, learns a skill and uses it. So
yeah, which
it just makes it feel different.
That's probably why a lot of isekais drop into the like in another world with your smartphone model where you get some sort of artificial AI or artificial interface that lets you kind of do it instead.
Yeah. And as I said, the thought of like, obviously isekais always have this thing where the main character, is way too OP. It's like a power fantasy thing. The difference in this is like the reason he's OP is kind of like the smart reason behind like why Kumoko and Desu is OP. Yeah. He's OP because he started as a baby with grown man intelligence, which makes tons of sense. Most people, if you were right now reincarnated a baby and you went in there with your mind, you'd be like, okay, you know what, this time, unlike in my last life, I'm going to fucking study a shit ton. Yeah. You're like, being someone who's like, almost 30 now, I realize that if I could go back right now, I could just study a shit ton as a kid, or I could pick a sport and start it early and then be successful later. Like, it's like, you can go in with all these thoughts, and he's like, hey, I'm going to be successful in this life. He's like, I was kind of a failure in my last life, not in this one. So as a baby, he's actively able to use that baby state with your brain is fucking crazy growing to like master things, which it actually makes so much realistic sense in a non-realistic way. You're like, okay, it makes sense as to why this character's OP. He didn't just get a 1 in a million dual wielding skill and like sorted it online that makes him OP. Like it just makes sense. The whole thing like feels a lot better. Yeah, it feels more realistic.
There's a logical progression for why he's this strong. instead of just having been like, by the way, here's a super powerful skill.
Yeah,
So,
she's like, hey, for some reason you're God now. Like, there you go.
yeah, like even with Sophia, they established like his unique thing being able to use spells without chanting the incantation. It's just because he was able to apply that knowledge. Like,
Yeah, it's not because he was born with that. It's just that because he started learning magic so young, it was before he was able to be told that you needed incantations. So since he didn't have that limitation, he was just able to kind of push forward with it. And then as he got older and he kind of learned you're not supposed to, or you don't typically, not cast it with incantations, he kind of like, oh, well, I've already done it, so I can keep doing it. So
yeah,
it just makes a lot of sense overall. And it's one of the reasons why the show is so good to me. I'm still excited to see. I really want to get to the point where we're like, he's older. I feel like the show could go. It has like that element where it can be a lot darker. As I said, last episode, we saw a fucking like 9-year-old girl get her face stomped in to the point where her teeth were broken and shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like the show can go a lot darker, but I'm excited for the darker story while he's a little older,
Yeah, you can kind of explore different elements when you have an older character to work with. So
yeah, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited to keep talking about Mushoku Tensei every single week. So if you're a fan of the show, let us know why down below. Leave us a like, all that kind of stuff, and just keep coming back, and we'll keep talking about it.
We will.
Last up on the list is Attack on Titan, episode number 69.
A sound argument.
A sound argument indeed. This entire episode is basically an argument. So there's still so much I don't understand in this episode. There's a little bit I do, and more I don't understand. Obviously, going into this episode, it's a lot of like, I guess world building. If I had to pick which category the episode mainly focuses on.
Yeah, I mean it's establishing relations with other countries, establishing their own modernization. So
yeah, so you get Man Bun Aaron in his jail cell, talking to himself. Hanj comes in, is like, "Sup, Aaron? You keep talking to yourself," and she's kind of mocking him.
Yeah,
and then you get the best. Normally a villain line, but in this you get a nice main character line being like, "You don't have a jail strong enough to hold me." It's like, oh, what a fucking protagonist. Is he like, you see like the Titan marks appearing in his face, and like he starts like he's gonna transform just to fucking scare her, and then pushes her away.
Yeah.
Good protagonist there. I don't know if I've ever heard that line be held by a good guy. But that's interesting.
I don't know if we have heard it be even now.
Listen, I don't care what people say. Aaron is still obviously good. We can see
Aaron is still obviously a protagonist.
We see from the other characters' perspective why they might not think that Aaron's good. Like even in this episode, there's this conversation around like, should we kill Aaron kind of thing with like his friends? But like when you actually know the perspective from Aaron, like in this one we see a flashback. It's 2 years before now, so it's about a year after the last time we saw with the soldiers and stuff coming on the island. They have finished building their port, and they're getting their first visitors from another country in 100 years, the only other country that doesn't hate them, which is like the Asian country. I don't remember exactly what it's called.
Hirozu,
something like that. And of course, we get the the leader, the girl we've met before, who was nice to an Eldian, so we've kind of seen that already. And she makes contact saying that she's talked to Zeke, and Zeke told her about a couple things. Told her about the precious mineral they have on Paradise Island that is really rare and will help them a lot. And then he told them about Mikasa, obviously. They see the mark on Mikasa's thing that shows that she's a relative of these of her the royalty. I think that was actually like someone was
it was a member of the royal family who was left behind
after the Great Titan War. There, they started the family. That's eventually where Mikasa came from. So it shows kind of them all being sad and like so happy to finally get them back. But then the next scene, it's kind of quickly established that like that's kind of like a side thing for them. They care more about the minerals and the advantage of having this island.
Yeah, they refer to it as what, the ice burst stone?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just kind of curious about like why did they ever mention that this was a unique element before? Or
I think so. I think they mentioned that like really early on that once you learn about Marley, that Paradise Island had like this like rare natural resource under it. So a couple of the things that I was a little confused about is I originally wasn't 100% sure as to when the timeline was because they kind of kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this part modern? Is it like a year? I kind of had to go based off just Aaron's hair, because it was longer than the 3-year flashback, but shorter than the current one. I was like, okay, this must be like the 2 years. And a lot of it is like you learn about Zeke's plan in this. So, this is still before the attack, but Historia, Aaron, all of them are learning about Zeke's plan. And Zeke's plan is basically to make this island flourish in a couple different senses, using like the connection with his new country, the rare mineral, and passing along Titan powers to like children, basically making them breed a bunch to pass along Titan powers. And some characters are not very cool with this.
Yeah, Aaron in particular is not cool with them making Historia breed and then killing her.
Well, yeah, actually, the main point was Historia was supposed to get the Beast Titan first, and
Yeah.
then she's supposed to breed eventually to have more relatives that can always take over the Beast Titan because Historia can't take over the Founding Titan because the Founding Titan doesn't actually work on royal blood because of the stupid curse thing that the King Fritz did.
Yeah.
But the Beast Titan, as we know, works better with Founding blood. So the plan is basically make Historia the Beast Titan. Zeke was going to sacrifice himself for that. And then, after that, she'll keep breeding to have more kids to keep carrying it down.
Yeah.
Start planning out who's going to take over the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So basically their plan is just to prepare for in the future by kind of sacrificing. I mean, it's kind of like saving themselves to sacrifice the future generations. They're not actually saving their island. They're kind of just like keeping this burden on it just in a different way.
Yeah.
Just a different type of burden.
Yeah, they talk about specifically using the rumbling and just releasing a portion of it to try and show people exactly how powerful it is.
Yeah, to make people not want to war with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously they don't like this plan because it kind of means sacrificing a lot of like their future to living on still a pretty shitty living situation.
Yeah, I mean they're still basically
Forced
living.
breeding.
Yeah, they're living under the yoke of Titans at this point still. So
I saw a couple fan theories that I don't want to 100% discuss because some people say that a lot of people say it hasn't been said in the manga yet if it's true or not. But like just from hearing about it, it seemed like it was relatively true, which is a lot about who the father of Historia's baby is.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because they don't show it in this.
Yeah, they specifically keep it vague. They say it was some guy who lived near her that used to throw rocks at her, worked out of guilt.
Yeah, but just basing off Historia's face and the fact that we don't see him, that ain't true. It's definitely one of the main characters.
Yeah.
Because in this, if I had to, from what I've heard, a lot of people seem to think it's Eren. It's never been talked about in the manga, but a lot of people think it's because he wanted to make her hold off from getting the Beast Titan. As we see in this episode, a lot of those like the higher up people in Paradise Island are mad because by getting pregnant now she can't become the Beast Titan for at least another 9 months.
Yeah,
because complications with the birth and stuff like that. They don't know what would happen if you Titan transform while you're pregnant.
Yeah, would you get 2 Titans? Would you have a Titan with a baby in it? Or...
Would you get human form but giving birth to Titan baby? It seems really risky. So they decide not to do it, of course. So a lot of people out there think that the baby was specifically put in her to avoid her having to become a Titan anytime soon.
Yeah.
Obviously, then Eren kind of went off the plan because he hates the plan, even though now it seems like he's working with Zeke's plan. So
yeah, they might have a variant based on what's changed. And like, if Eren actually got a hold of Zeke and said like, "Hey, this isn't cool. Let's do something else," they might have come to an understanding.
Maybe. Because, yeah, the whole point of why everyone's mad at Eren is because he took it upon himself to start this war with Marley because he thinks that there can be no peace, while a lot of these other characters like Armin and stuff still, they haven't seen like Grisha Jaeger's past and stuff. They don't understand that there really won't be peace with Marley. It's just not going to happen. If anything, you might be able to stall out the war by showing off like the power of the rumbling and stuff like that, but you're not going to make peace with Marley. It's just fucking impossible.
Yeah,
they're way too big of tools.
Yeah, you have to like even just worldwide, people view Paradise Island as just villains. They feel by making one person evil, it's easy to kind of unite everyone. So
yeah, and Aaron's not down for this plan of just like they keep kind of living the way they are. He's just not down for that plan. He would rather just wipe out every other country if he has to. He'd rather just have a world with the war and a chance that they can live peacefully at some point instead of taking this kind of like shittier plan. So that's why he kind of went ahead and fucked over all their plans by himself. But I mean, they still have Zeke. They obviously we've seen in this that they want to make Historia become the Beast Titan still, but now thanks to the pregnancy that is delayed.
Yeah.
So we still haven't seen Zeke and Eren talk yet. We need to kind of know where these two plans come together because they were two separate plans that people now seem to think they're on the same page, even though Eren's plan was actively against Zeke's in a way.
Yeah, I think Eren was just trying to force a different path, like trying to force something where you didn't need the rumbling, you didn't need the Beast Titan and the Founding Titan to work together. So
there was also something sus in this episode. I don't know if you also caught it. There's the point where obviously we see all these like higher ups in Paradise talking to each other.
Oh, the moment with the wine.
Yeah, the moment with the wine. Obviously,
someone's getting poisoned or drugged or something.
Yeah, but like from my boy Nicolo.
I mean, yeah, if you're treating him like shit, I can see it.
I guess. So yeah, it shows all the guys in like the uppers in Paradise are talking. The one guy's obviously drunk, saying a lot of stupid shit, like how Historia is like a stupid whore and she's not really like it shouldn't really be a royal and that kind of stuff. And everyone else is like, dude, shut the fuck up, like you're drunk, stop it. And then he looks over the guy and like demands more wine. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, right away. And he goes down to the basement. He meets Nicolo, and Nicolo's like, oh, is that the wine they're drinking? And it's just like,
yeah, he said this wine, right?
Yeah, a little sus. Because why would they need to show that scene?
Well, I mean, I think part of it is like that's current, right? That's
that's current. That's
So-
they came back. Aaron's in jail, and they're showing that Historia's pregnant.
I mean, this is after they've been detained, so because of Zeke. Do you really think Niccolo gives a shit now that Sasha's dead?
I mean, it almost implied like he still would. I think he's made some sort of friendships with like Connie and stuff like that after it too.
Yeah, but the scouts aren't part of this.
Yeah, I know it's true. Well, it's the scouts. Connie specifically mentioned that like the after like the Marlians were arrested, they were done without even the scouts knowing because they thought the scouts might have done something about it. So it's kind of once again showing that it's not just like Paradis is the good guys now and Marley's the bad guys. There's still douchebags in Paradis.
Oh yeah.
And there's still like there's two separate sides in a sense. So
yeah, I mean everything they do in this, there's always someone on the other side who's innocent, someone who's not as bad as you want them to be.
I mean, it's realistic, right? There's not just a good side and a bad side. There's gray. Not just light and dark. It's not just Marley's dark. Paradis is light. There's gray on each sides too, and I mean, it's kind of important. I still think like this one, we just got all Aaron in jail. We need to get Aaron out of jail eventually with his badass line, like, "You can't fucking hold me."
I mean,
I did. There was also an important flashback in this, which shows in the 2 years they built the railroads.
Yeah.
The best part is when Levi comes up and gets mad that they're all taller than him now. Sucks to be short, little fucker. But yeah, and then it shows like them in the carriage. Now, it still shows such a different Aaron from only like 2 years.
I know, because even here he's talking about like everyone's discussing, like, "Oh, I should take over the Attack Titan. No, I should take over the Attack Titan."
Yeah, each one of them. It starts with Mikasa. They're like, "Oh, when like Aaron's like, oh, so we need to start planning at someone to take this over because I only got 5 years left." And Mikasa's like, "I'll take it." And then Jean's like, no, Mikasa, you can't take it. We're not 100% sure about the Ackermans and that kind of stuff yet.
Yeah.
And, plus like that might ruin this relation we have with this Asian country now because you're there. He's like, clearly I should take it. And then Connie's like, no, Jean, you can't take it because you're too, Jean's like logical, like, I'm the best at everything, so I should take it. And Connie's like, no, Jean, you can't take it. If you're the best at everything, then you're going to lead a division.
We want you to still be alive in 14 years.
Connie's like, I should take it. I suck at everything. And then Sasha's like, yeah, you do suck at everything, so you shouldn't take it.
And she's like, we can't have an idiot take over the Attack Titan. And he looks at her, it's like, well, you can't take it over. But
he's like, you're an idiot too.
Like the look on their face, dude, just has the same look of shock and like distress you got when like someone would actually like die in front of them.
Something insane happened, like the bags under Connie's eyes.
Yeah.
And then obviously at the last second, Aaron's like, I don't want any of you guys to take over. And they're like, oh, fucking why? And he's like, I care. You guys are too important to me.
Yeah.
I don't want any of you to have to die in like 13 years kind of situation. Even though Aaron will be dead at this point anyways, it still shows that he doesn't want them to be shortening their lives for that.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, we'll find someone else. And then that's where they all get like the little blushy cheeks, and Jean's like, fuck you, Aaron. And then Armin's like, no, man, it's just the sun's making all our faces red. And it's like this nice little sweet moment.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to them in modern time, being like, oh, Aaron didn't give a fuck. Like, he ruined this. He's the one who got Sasha killed. And then Connie's like, yeah, like, we might have to, like, if he's on, like, the wrong side now, we might have to take him out. And Mikasa's like, fuck no, Connie. And she's like, oh, you're on their side too? And she's like, no, like, we don't know that Aaron's, doing anything wrong yet. And I'm like, and then, he brings up the fact that he's like, oh, why did Aaron laugh when Sasha died? But as the viewers, we clearly saw that Aaron was fucking like pained by her death.
Yeah, I think he did let her laugh, but I think that was more that her last words being meat was just so on brand.
Also,
for her.
we've also seen him laugh. He laughed when what was the Hannes? What was the guy, like the guard that was there and saved him when he was going to die after his mother was eaten?
Yeah,
when he died to like Dina in the last season, Aaron also laughed at that too. It's just,
I think it's a stress mechanism. It's not.
Yeah, it's like a Shinra Smile kind of situation from Fire Force. But yeah, I mean, obviously, as the viewers, we know it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's like he obviously cared. And I feel like someone there, like Mikasa, was she not in the room there when Aaron showed that like emotion at the same time?
I think Jean was. I think Mikasa and...
Oh, they ran out to go...
Yeah, Mikasa and Armin ran out to go...
Yeah, so someone should have backed Aaron up there. Like, we could clearly see that he was not happy with that death he was paying.
The thing is, I don't think Jean saw the other times when he broke out with that little... Like...
I mean, yeah, maybe. But I feel like you could still tell that he was emotionally upset about that. Not to mention the fact that it's like, yes, obviously Sasha died. There was a possibility that any of them would have died because it's like a war. And they're all mad at him because he did that. But if not, like, Aaron did this specifically because he didn't want all of their lives to be ruined. He did it because he didn't want Historia having to, eventually die and having to, have all of her kids just be like fucking breeding horses and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah. I mean, there's different contexts because you can always look at it in the sense that he chose Historia over Sasha in one way.
Yeah, fair.
God damn.
I feel like Eren always had like a mini crush on Historia. I think Reiner also had a crush on Historia too back in the day.
I mean, when Historia was like still, oh god, what was her original name? Christy,
Krista. I feel like it was Krista.
Yeah, back when she was Krista, I think everyone had a crush on her.
Yep, she was the hot one.
I mean, they just referred to her as an angel, so I was like, yeah, okay.
Even in this episode, you see how happy she is when she learns that Mikasa is also kind of like a princess in her own sense.
Yeah.
And then, but every other time you see her in this episode, miserable.
Oh god, yeah. Like when she's pregnant, she looks like she wants to die. It's like, oh,
miserable. I am actually curious if people are right with like the theory that like Eren's the father. It would make a lot of sense. Plus, like, you know, giving Eren a kid's kind of dope. I don't know if anything will ever come from it, but it makes sense. Like, who is more against this whole plan, especially involving Historia, than Eren, who has always been about like
Eren was the one who stood up like, we're not sacrificing Historia to this plan.
Yeah, Eren literally early on, even in the end of last season, he knew information that could have helped him like win a war possibly, but he didn't give it up because he was worried about it endangering Historia. Once again, he is more actively against this current plan because of Historia, even compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
So who else would maybe want to be like, hey, how can I make sure she gets at least another 9 months while I execute this plan to maybe stop it from ever happening? I don't know.
I mean, that would definitely be a way to go. The only problem is, I feel like Mikasa might cut her up at that point.
I think Mikasa would at least understand, especially because it from like a you know, if Eren, it's not he's like, hey, I really feel like doing Historia. If it's more from like a he did this to save her, I feel like she would understand.
I mean, yeah.
We've also seen her before complain about like never wanting Eren to die and stuff like that. But even in this episode, she's like, not only she's like, oh, you know, if that ever happens, whatever. But even just earlier on when they're all still friends, she's like, you know, I'll take over the Attack Titan. Right there, she's acknowledging that in 5 years she's down just to eat and kill Eren to take over the Attack Titan.
I mean, if he's gonna die anyways, that might be like her way of keeping him with her.
Back in the past, she just wouldn't have accepted the fact he was going to die anyways, you know. But now, at least.
But think about it: if she takes over the Attack Titan, she gets his memories.
That's true. But then, what if all of her memories like, oh, I hate Mikasa, she's so ugly.
Well, then I don't even know at that point.
Exactly. How upset would she be? Would the memories going to be? Oh, wait a minute. You know what I just realized?
What?
Eren has memories of his dad fucking his mom.
That's where you go with that?
I was just because I was about to say that she'd have memories of maybe Eren having sex with Historia. Maybe that's how she finds out, or maybe that's how the character finds out. That's it. But then I'm just like, wait a minute. Yeah, Eren has Grisha Jaeger's memories, so he has memories of his dad having sex with his mother. That's in fact not like in first person point of view.
I mean, the question is like, do you get all the memories?
I don't know. Seems like if you just have selective memories, is a little unfair.
Because I mean, most of the memories you've seen him recall actively are like situation based, like they just kind of pop in.
There's still such a huge question too around getting off the topic of Eren maybe seeing his sex with his own mother. There's still such a question around the end of season 3 where the Jaeger, or no, what was his name? It wasn't Jaeger. Oh, what the hell
Johan?
What was Eren's fake name in the beginning of the season? It was that.
Oh God,
Kruger.
I think that's it. I know it was very German.
Yeah. I think it was Eren Kruger. I think that's maybe where Eren got his first name. But there's the whole thing with him and Grisha, and they say the line, be like, oh, you know, you have to do this to protect Armin and Mikasa. And there's this big confusion about how you can have memories of the future.
Yeah.
And like that's never really been talked about again. So that's something that I assume is going to have a really important play at some point in this.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that maybe Eren knows how this all works out.
Yeah, so like that's why he's doing this plan. And yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of cool. I just think everyone's being a little harsh on Eren. You know, they got to look at it from his perspective too.
I mean, I feel like people aren't, like, in some ways, people aren't being harsh enough on Eren. Like in the world, they're being harsh on him, but for like fans, think about how much people hate Gabby right now.
Yeah, I don't hate Gabby. Yeah, I never liked Gabby anyways. I don't dislike her or like her anymore since she killed Sasha.
I know, but people like went off on her because she killed Sasha, but Eren like destroyed a building full of like children and old people.
Yep.
And people just didn't bat an eye.
Listen, technically Armin killed more people. So
I mean, you're right. Yeah.
And that's why they're all mad at Eren. Because like, yeah, he made Armin kill all these people. It's like, yeah, I mean, you know, you had your own choices. You didn't have to, but obviously it made sense. You're at war and you just destroyed their port. You just delayed further war from happening for a long time.
I mean, it's more that Eren's the one who declared the war without consulting anyone.
Exactly. He had to, though. I'm on Eren's side. Fuck all those other guys. They need to stop being such cucks. They're supposed to be his friends. And they're all like, let's kill Eren. I'm like, oh, fuck you, Connie. If you had anyone's memory, you'd understand. And we've discussed this before, but like Armin doesn't understand as much because he only has Bertolt's memories. And I mean, like,
I think Bertolt had a kind of decent life.
Yeah, growing up as like just a warrior candidate compared to growing up and when you see like Grisha Jaeger and his sister kind of situation,
Yeah.
you realize that there's a very large difference there.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible there has been some sort of societal reform since then where people aren't just murdering Eldian children with dogs in the streets.
They probably still are. Let's be honest. We've seen some Marlians.
I mean, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, obviously, this is episode 10, and there's only 16 episodes, so we're like only 6 episodes away from the finale.
Yeah.
We've discussed before whether or not we think we're going to get like a movie or some sort of OVA or special for the end, which is still possible. I feel like we'll hear more about that when we get really close towards the end.
Yeah, it depends on how fast they go with this, because I know the next episode is going to be a Gabby and Falco episode.
Yeah, it's them like breaking out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Which is good. I feel like we need some more. I want some more. Other people hate her, but I want more Gabby and Falco development because they're characters that we had to spend the first like 4 episodes with, right? So it's like, where are they going?
Yeah.
A lot of it was revolved around them getting the armor titan, which currently is not an option for them. So I'm really curious as to what's happening.
Yeah, because I mean, the preview just says they're going to get help from people that they thought they hated. And then, did you get the feeling that they're going to go meet Sasha's family?
Possibility, yeah, but from people they hated would just be Eldians. I just got the feeling that maybe they just run into they escape and they run to their family of Eldians who kind of take care of them.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I just feel like there would be something a little poetic about Gabby receiving help from Sasha's family.
It's true. Do you think they escape by their own means? Or do you think it has something to do with like Niccolo and the other guy?
I think they're going to drug a bunch of the guards and they're going to break out with that.
It's possible. That'll be exciting anyways. As I said, people hate Gabby, but I want more character development for Gabby and for Falco. Yeah. But I don't know if Gabby's ever going to get it. I feel like Gabby, once again, is very much early, season 1 Eren, obsessed with just her anger towards Eren. And I just don't think that that's really going to go anywhere good for her. While Falco, I think, still at least has the development to grow. He has the development to see these Eldians and accept the fact that they're not the monsters. He's heard a little bit of Eren's story from like his interaction with Reiner. Yeah. Accepting that like Reiner, who's like his hero, did agree that like, they're kind of wrong and it's not the Eldians' fault. It's also like their fault and stuff like that. So Falco has more room to grow than Gabby. Gabby in this one is going to be, I think, her world's going to be more shattered than Falco's, though, because of this. She's going to meet the Eldians, think they're monsters. They're immediately nice. And
I mean, in the past, you did hear Reiner's kind of refer to them as, like, there's a lot of Eldians who are just like us, or I guess people on Paradise Island. But and that was just, like, absolutely unthinkable to her. So
yeah, so this is going to be where she now gets to see that in action, and it kind of shatters her world. Yeah. But yeah, we'll be talking about that next week. I think that's everything we have for Attack on Titan.
I think so, yeah.
Yep. So if you're a fan of Attack on Titan, which I can only assume you are because most of the world is, unless you're one of those people on Twitter who hates it because it's done by a different studio.
I feel like it's gone away a little bit.
I don't know. I try not to really pay attention to it because I think those people are just kind of dumbasses. Because I mean, the show is no worse than it's ever been just because it changed studios. Yeah. But I mean, in these episodes, we're not really getting a lot of CGI anyways, so maybe people are shutting up about it. But the next time we have combat, you're just going to see everyone complain again. Be like, oh, look how fucking Eren had 3 less hair strands in this than he had in the manga. If this was still the other studio, they would have done it. Like, stupid shit. But yeah, so if you're a fan, just leave us a comment down below, theories down below. Obviously, spoiler free if you can. If you have spoilers, make sure you leave enough space that people can at least choose to see said spoiler. As always. I think that's pretty much it for the episode. So that's it for talking about weekly anime. So obviously, keep up, like, comment, all that kind of stuff. Next week, we'll be talking about all the same shows again. And as we get closer to the end, we're getting closer to season finales. We're about halfway through for some of these shows now.
Yeah, we're about halfway through. Again, we've got 6-7 episodes for most of them. So
it's true. Like every single other time too, we ask that if you watch this, you have any friends you want to share it to, any communities you want to share it to, Reddits. You want to go post it on the Jujutsu subreddit and get banned? You can do that. Discord, stuff like that. We're still just trying to hit that 1K now. We're just about at 200. 100 subscriber special will be coming out soon, even though now it's basically a 200 subscriber special by the time it comes out.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention at the beginning, my shirt.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised you didn't bring that up.
So I mean, we have the our We've Seen It shirts, and I did have my friends specifically make me a Sugoi Dakai shirt. So big. This is a great workout shirt. Not gonna lie. I don't know. Great shirt. So yeah, if you're watching this, as always, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. It's really means a lot to us. We love all the comments. The comments have been like pretty insane. I mean, as I said, we looked back to some of our early videos when we were getting like 4 comments and like 15 views, and
now we have full-blown discussions going on.
Yeah, we're getting like more than like 80 comments in a video. The views are getting up to like the 1,000 view range. Like, it's just really, really cool. And the growth's been insane. So thanks for helping it. Thanks for everybody who comes from like the subreddits. If you actually happen to find this through YouTube algorithm, that's insane and that's cool. So,
Yeah.
you know, I guess thank YouTube for that one. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So we'll be seeing you next week. Thanks again. Once again, my name's been Cam.
And I've been Jimmy.
Take it easy, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and peace.
Peace.